Welcome, everyone. We'll start today's meeting with, I'd like to welcome Kathy and Gail from the Hamilton Baha'i community, who will open the meeting for us this morning. Thank you.
Greetings from the Waikato Interfaith. We're the Baha'i. I'll start with a prayer and then it's a prayer for humanity, and then Kathy has some readings to do with consultation, which will be very useful for you from the Baha'i writers. O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence they are all thy servants, and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together at thy table of bounty. All are illumined through the light of thy providence. O God, thou art kind to all, thou hast provided for all, dost shelter all, conferrest life upon all. Thou hast endowed each and all with talents and faculties, and all are submerged in the ocean of thy mercy. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family, and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father, God, gladden our hearts through the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word, and shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence. Thou art the mighty and the powerful. Thou art the forgiving, and thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind.
Take ye counsel together in all matters, inasmuch as consultation is the lamp of guidance, which leadeth the way, and is the bestower of understanding. They must then proceed with the utmost devotion, courtesy, dignity, care, and moderation to express their views.
Thank you. Thank you, Kathy and Gail, for opening our meeting, and it's a full house. So welcome everyone to the last Community and Natural Environment Committee meeting for this triennium. I've been told it's the first of the last, so we're starting the last cycle of meetings, and we're the first of the last. Apologies for today. We've got partial attendance from Deputy Mayor, oh no, she is here. Yep, she's here online. Lateness for Councillor Wilson, and early departure from Councillor McIndoe. Was there any? And Mayor Paula.
Over the lunch break, hopefully.
Yes. She'll be in and out, or hopefully over the lunch break. Are there any other apologies? I will move those, and Councillor Anna to second. All those in favour say aye. Any against? That's carried. Confirmation of the agenda. I'd like to move bringing up item 15 to just after item 7. So bringing up the GM report to just after the community occupancy applications, as we do have submitters in the gallery as well. And public forum, we have quite a number of speakers this morning, so we'll be limiting those to 3 minutes per speaker. I'll move the confirmation of the agenda. Emma to second. All those in favour say aye. Any against? That's carried.
May I just say a quick word of thanks to you on your last community meeting, and you've chosen to move forward and do other things next year instead of running for a re-election. But I want to note your calm, professional, and dedicated approach to the community committee throughout this term, and we thank you for it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor Paula. Declarations of interest. Are there? Yes?
So I have an interest in item 7, but not a conflict.
That is noted. Thank you. and we'll move to public forum. So first we'll have Margaret Evans, former Mayor Margaret, welcome, who is speaking to item 15, the GM report.
We also have Peter and Neil with her.
There's Peter and Neil with her as well.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou. I begin by saying that, Kesh, we recognise your last meeting as chair. I also want to say this is a tiny, tiny little project, but it is symptomatic of things that I hope will change after the elections. The one plea I have, which is associated with this, is that you open the door for citizens to be able to come straight to council and decide whether you need any more staff involvement. Because this is, as I said, a tiny project. And to acknowledge this, we've got a present for you all.
This is not a bribe, is it? No. You're not allowed to bribe me.
I'm not allowed to bribe you.
No bribing.
This is, of course, the original book on Sapamore Jones, and I acknowledge Mangai Ollie because he was the MC that day, and I know he's already got a copy of the book, so if you want to trade yours, Ollie, you can. We'll pass them around the table. I have with me today here Neil Kurjanvan, and Neil is here as a member of the task force because he is one of the city's specialists on heritage. And here, and here we've got Peter, who of course is one of the volunteer guides who does the existing heritage walkway through the town. So we thought that was a good aspect for you. I acknowledge Paula, Mayor Paula, thank you. You've had a bit of a say in all of this. It hasn't quite worked out as we wanted to, but we're here today. So Kesh, thank you to you, and Helen, thank you to you for actually bringing it forward today. It's really simple. Just give it a tick, please.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you for the opportunity. The expertise actually is really a bit overwhelming. I'm the chairman of the Waikato Historical Society, and for my sins, I get involved in, or like to become involved with the Historical Society in a lot of historical events. And what we're talking about here is a history-based event which isn't new. Footsteps of History, which is the project we're looking about, follows on from some of the older, more longer serving people may recognise this brochure. It covers the walks through the historic area of South Victoria Street. What we're proposing is that this be emulated right throughout the CBD. And a simple example that I think has been overlooked, and I stand corrected on this, is that in yesterday's newspaper, and being an ex-newspaper man, I believe everything that's in the newspaper, there was a budgeted amount of $268,000 for prettying up Hood Street. Now, some of you may not realise, but Hood Street contains 6 heritage buildings. And what I don't see in the prettying up is the actual historic recognition of some of those buildings. Most of us are aware of the iconic BNZ building on the corner, but a little bit further down the road, and if you're walking from Victoria Street on your left, is where the first hospital board building is. And further along from that is the Grand Central Hotel. Now, why would you have a name Grand Central Hotel if you weren't a Grand Central Hotel? And these are the sorts of identities and identification of significant heritage sites that Hamilton is full of, that with this project would like to recognise. And so that is why we're asking for your support for this project, Footsteps into History. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in. As I've said, we've brought that item up the agenda, so hopefully you will still be here when it's discussed quite soon.
Peter?
We've run out of time. Is it a really quick point?
We had 10 minutes.
3. Cut it down.
It's just 3.
No, that's only for hearings, that there is a different time allowance. Public forum, everybody gets the same.
Thank you.
We'll walk away then. take our footsteps with us.
Your points were well made. Thank you so much. Yes, Paul. Scott Tiffany from Puketi Neighbourhood House. Welcome, Scott.
Good morning. At this point, I feel like I could almost start by saying, hey, it's me again going on about this building. But for those who don't know me, my name is Scott Tiffany. I'm the General Manager of the Puketi Neighbourhood House, and I'm here to speak in support of the staff recommendation regarding the community occupancy lease for the new facility currently under construction. Over the course of this project, I've sat in this seat many times, and I've been here when I was the only person in the public gallery, and I've been here when that gallery was also full of upset residents. And through it all, regardless of who was watching, I've always felt the support of those of you sitting in those seats. And today I'm asking you to show us that support one more time. As I said, I support the staff recommendation of a 20-year lease, and hey, if you felt like giving us a little bit longer, you wouldn't hear any complaints from me. But as a baseline, I'm comfortable with the recommendation. This project, this building, has been created with the community at its heart. It's a space built on the work done by my team and by those who came before us. Every element, from the design to the function to the location, has been shaped by the work and by what our community needs. And while I know there have been differences of opinions over the years about where the building should go, what it should look like, and how it should function, your support has been felt through it all. I've seen firsthand that when it matters, this council backs its community. So I'm asking that today, despite the current pre-election environment with campaigning in full swing and talk of blue, red, green, left, right and centre, that we can put political differences aside and come together once again as a unified council and back this lease application. I understand that as a council, you make tough decisions every day. Some are far bigger and far more complex than this one. And for those seeking re-election, you'll have more difficult calls to make over the next 3 years. But while this might be a small decision in the wider scheme of council business, for us, for our team, our organisation, this decision is everything. This is about long-term security. This is about our future home. It's about having a permanent place in our community, a base from which we can serve, support and grow. And as some of you prepare to move on from public office and others prepare to seek re-election, I hope that when the results begin to roll in October, you can look back on your time in those seats and that this is one of the projects you'll remember proudly and that you can say, look what we achieved for our community together. Look what we achieved for our city together. Because this project is proof of what's possible when council and community work together. Thank you.
And on the dot. Well done. Thank you, Scott. Next, we've got Matt McCaskill. Is he here? Matt's not here. Sarah Gibbs from Community Waikato. Thank you.
Morena. I'm Sarah Gibb. I'm a community advisor at Community Waikato. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm trying to be Holly, the CE, and we all know that's not possible, but Holly gives her apologies. She's had to go to Wellington at short notice. Really, our reason for wanting to speak today is to support the work of the Council's Community Development Team, your item 10, the annual update of the Community and Social Development Strategy. Basically, we'd like to thank this Council, you and the wider Council for the support that you've provided to achieve the vision of Hamilton being home to healthy, resilient and connected communities, which has a positive impact on the well-being of all our people. And that very much matches the vision of Community Waikato also. But personally, I wanted to talk on two subjects in particular. One is community houses and the other one is community funding. and here I have to admit I'm thinking, gee, Scott did well. I'm the chairperson of Puketi Neighbourhood House, soon to be Puketi Community Centre, so I definitely have a conflict, I can't deny it. But I guess we're incredibly proud of our community houses and the support that you give them. Community houses, you know, they're not just buildings, they're places for people to feel included, to feel connected, to feel welcome. And particularly in the last few months, you've really made a difference, and in particularly that community development team. In Melville at Te Whare Kokonga, that was a community house really in trouble in the last few months. And by putting one of your senior advisors into that spot, into that place for a few months, it gave the community house and the neighbourhood time to heal and look at what they wanted to do next. Incredibly grateful. Puketi Community House, well, you know where we stand on that one. We're incredibly excited about what the options are. Community funding, I'm watching the time zoom down. Look, I've just come off 6 years of the COGS committee. Alongside COGS, we have the council's grants. And once upon a time, organisations could apply to one or the other. The reality is now that all organisations find themselves applying to both. One can't do without the other, and it makes an incredible difference, particularly to our small organisations in this city. I hope you recognise the impact. It really is significant. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We've got Michelle from EnviroSchools next. Welcome.
Tēnā koutou, ko Michelle Daly, tuku ingoa, he kaiwhakahaere EnviroSchools Waikato hau o te Kanihira ao Waikato. Hi everyone, I'm Michelle from the Waikato Regional Council and the education team. Just here to provide a short update on EnviroSchools and also to thank and recognise Hamilton City Council for the long-standing partnership. EnviroSchools has deep roots in the Waikato, having been piloted in Kirikiriroa over 20 years ago, so deep roots, and just wanting to acknowledge that support and thank you to the community development team, Philippa and Yona and the team for their ongoing support and collaboration. For those of you that aren't familiar with EnviroSchools, I thought I'd just give you a quick overview as to what it entails and to draw a light on a project that really showcases what it's all about, which is the Mairoa Intermediate School Gully Restoration Project. EnviroSchools has a kaupapa of creating a healthy, peaceful, sustainable world through learning and taking action together. And the co-funding with district councils and regional council enable a facilitation resource to support teachers in schools to learn, understand about sustainability and how it links to curriculum, and supports the empowerment of students to take action in their local spaces. The guiding principles of empowered learners, te ao Māori, learning for sustainability, respect for diversity and sustainable communities hold the kaupapa to be true and have integrity in the delivery in each school. Each school's journey is very different and depends on the local geography of that school, and the facilitators work hard to make it a meaningful experience for both teachers and students. At Mairoa Intermediate School, oh, only a minute. Wow, I hear you. Quick. At Mairoa Intermediate School, in lockdown, there was an opportunity to explore their local gully. In 2019, the students did they unpacked a Nature as Your First Home module through the EnviroSchools kaupapa, visited Sanctuary Mountain, and came back and realised that on their doorstep was a gully that was their natural resource that could be a treasure. So they set about working, did some workshops around what are the healthy components of a gully, what does water quality look like, and connected in with experts at Hamilton City and Regional Council to learn about those aspects. Community restoration activities were strengthened as a result. There are community working bees after school and on the weekends. Eco-sourcing has been enabled seedlings to be growing and restoration activities to be maintained in the gully. The school was then celebrated, which in turn inspires the network. So I guess I just wanted to thank you for helping to enable that process, which helps to inspire other schools. There are 35 schools, I think, in Hamilton involved, which wouldn't be possible without the partnership. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Next, we've got Ravinda Power from the Waikato Multicultural Council. I was about to say Ravinda Uncle, because that's what I call you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting old, so everyone's calling me uncle now. Morena, namaste. Thank you. I'm Ravinda Power, the chair of Waikato Multicultural Council. Been there for a long time. The Waikato Multicultural Council has been an active partner in prompting the intent of welcoming community, and in particular supporting the celebration of Welcoming Week. Waikato Multicultural Council supports the Welcoming Communities plan because it aligns closely with our values. One of our main objectives is for ethnic groups to better integrate with the wider community. One of the goals of the Welcoming Community Plan is to open and accept cultural diversity. The plan helps any type of newcomers moving into Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, to feel supported and included. There are 5 guiding principles of the plan, of which we will cover a couple of them today. Manaki Tanga and Wahinu Naga Tanga. These terms express the sense of hospitality, generosity, mutual respect, relationship, building, and connections. Waikato Multicultural Council is an umbrella organization for ethnic communities, groups in the region. We love to build mutual relationships and form connections within the ethnic communities and reach out to the Hamilton residents so that newcomers and the local people can connect and share a sense of belonging for the fantastic place we have called home. There are further 8 welcoming community standards, and the outcome are measured by these benchmarks. We would like to highlight particularly the connected communities and the culture and the identity outcomes. We have organized and run similar cultural village in the past during the Waikato show. We know how challenging it is. Oh yeah, okay, time's kicking. Being together, diverse cultures and the resources required for such events to be successful. We support Hamilton City Council to continue to fund these events. Next, we will mention the benefits of the Welcoming Week. Waikato Multicultural Council has participated in every Welcoming Week. 4 members of my committee are part of that planning group. We have enjoyed participating in the City Council endeavors to bring together newcomers so they feel welcome. We feel that the week is an intense short number of days and that perhaps resources could be allocated to spend out and grow Welcoming Week into regular organization welcoming events throughout the year to prevent community organizations. Moreover, newcomers arriving through the year, the source of newcomers is not from migrant, former refugees, international students, but could be from elsewhere in New Zealand. We feel that the newcomer source group from within New Zealand in an untapped audience, and they could be better included. Would like to especially commend the Welcoming Committee Planning Program Coordinator Jovi Belanosa for her long-term dedication, contribution to the ethnic community. Thank you.
Thank you.
For that.
Thank you for coming in. Jeremy Mail from Creative Waikato. Welcome. Speaking to item 10.
Kia ora koutou. Nice to be here with everyone on this fine Tuesday morning. I understand the time is quick, so I'm going to blast into it. So, my pleasure to be here in support of item 10. The work of the community development team and the delivery of the strategy continues to be an effective and impactful part of the work of Council. Speaking on behalf of Creative Waikato, we've seen elements of this impact across 5 priority areas, including in the strengthening of the community house capability and also in the connections and opportunities to develop through interagency meetings. But I'd like to speak more directly to the significance of the community funding and the relationships that are developed between Council and community through the support and partnership. We see the role of the recently adopted Waikato Arts Navigator and Arts Action Plan as having alignment and engagement with the action plans included in this update, things like the Welcoming Plan, the Rangatake Action Plan, but also see increasing opportunities in connection with the Age-Friendly Plan and the Disability Action Plan. There are a number of creative projects happening in community in direct connections with these opportunities, and these are significant for strengthening local engagement where access is important. Investment in these community partnerships enable these things to happen every day. We also acknowledge the importance as part of the significant work of Council in continuing to be committed to working with communities of place, identity and interest with a strength-based approach. These relationships enable the broader reach of positive community impact through social cohesion, community development, and creating a stronger sense of local identity. These relationships and partnerships help to demonstrate a valued understanding of the strength and connectedness of local communities. This is speaking to strategic capability organisations like our sister organisations in Sport Waikato and Community Waikato, but also the other connections with local funders. This is about Hamilton thriving. In specific regards to community funding, we wanted to point out that the Council funding remains of significant value to the community and makes a number of measurable benefits that provide significant return on social investment in the community. The opportunities enabled by this community funding supports both sustainability and accessibility, but is also a key strategic investment in local people who understand how to effectively serve their communities and can work in effective partnership with Council to achieve positive outcomes that align with your goals. We want to thank you for your support and your total of these things over the last long-term plan, and we look forward to future councils supporting this in the same way. Community spaces are really key spaces to supporting civic safety, communities having livable and thriving spaces to connect, and being enabled and activated by people in those spaces. Also would like to talk to the importance of having community advisors and the community development team. They serve as an important conduit with community and become a friendly face of council in local spaces with a commitment to supporting groups whilst also working alongside our regional capability builders. And finally, in the broader context of this meeting, I'd like to add my support to the Welcoming Community Plan and the importance of culture and identity and how we access that, and also the Disability Action Plan about how much potential there is for some really exciting work in that with creative communities that is already happening. Thank you for my time, for this time.
Can you take a big deep breath for us? Thank you, Jeremy.
Trying to fit 5 minutes of speech into 3 minutes. An auctioneer, perhaps.
Thank you. Welcome David Blewett from Waikato Hockey. Thank you.
Right. Good morning all. My name is David Blewett and I'm here today on behalf of the Waikato Hockey Charitable Trust. So the Trust currently leases the Gallagher Hockey Centre site, that's at the end of Queen's Ave in Inniscommon, from the Hamilton City Council. As per the agenda item, the Trust is applying for a new community lease for 15 years for the premises. On the land that is leased, the Trust owns all the buildings and the infrastructure. This includes the pavilion, the offices, the changing rooms, the 2 turfs that are down there, the lighting and other infrastructure. Separately to the Trust, the Waikato Hockey Association runs the operational side of hockey. That includes competitions, programs, tournaments and developments. Over 5,600 players are supported through the Hockey Centre, and with participants of all ages from juniors, intermediate and secondary school ages through to seniors and masters. And the Hockey Centre provides for all levels of hockey, from grassroots all the way through to the top levels. So the centre provides sport as a winter competition as well as a summer league, so it's used all throughout the year. While Hamilton is the 4th largest city in the country, the Hockey Centre caters for the 3rd largest player base in the country. On an annual basis, the Trust does not require annual funding from the Hamilton City Council. The Trust itself is 100% responsible for maintaining the site. However, the Trust does rely on a council contribution to turf replacement once every 5 or 7 years. In the past 12 months, the Trust has replaced Turf 2, that's the one that's closest to the lake. That was done earlier this year, and Hamilton City Council contributed 1/3 of the cost, being $133,000. The other 2/3 came from members and from external funders. Additionally, the turf lighting has been replaced this year with LED lighting system. This was funded by members and external funders. So the occupancy application that we've put in will also cover commercial activity for the on-site pro shop as well as the on-site canteen. The canteen provides a good hub and opportunities for social connection for the hockey community and their families. And the Hockey Centre itself provides an opportunity for people to thrive and connect through sport in an organised, well-planned and safe environment. So securing the community lease gives the Trust the confidence to continue to invest in the site and maintain and improve the hockey facilities. This allows the Trust to continue to provide a top-class hockey centre on behalf of Hamilton. So that's my lot. Thank you for your time and your ongoing support of hockey in Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next, we've got Varney Mills from Diversity Counselling, New Zealand. Over to you.
Thank you. Kia ora tātou, vanakkam, warm greetings to you all. My name is Vani. I'm from Diversity Counselling New Zealand. We provide culturally responsive mental health and well-being service to migrant and former refugees from ethnic communities. I'm also part of the Welcoming Communities Advisory Committee, and I want to acknowledge the Welcoming Communities Plan, not just a document, but as a living commitment to inclusion, equity, and dignity. The plan recognizes something many of us in the room already know, hopefully. Well-being and belonging are deeply interconnected. People are more likely to contribute to society, connect with others, and build meaningful lives when they feel welcomed, not just on paper, but in practice. You matter, you are seen, you belong here. With support from the Welcoming Fund, we were able to launch 2 initiatives, Thrive and Breathing Space. Most of our counsellors were there, witnessed. These programs were shaped with deep care for community voices, cultural identity, and safety. And they are just few among many important initiatives supported through the Welcoming Communities Fund and delivered by dedicated organizations across Hamilton. But what I really want to speak today is the idea that welcoming is a culture, not just an action. How we listen, how we include people in decision making, how we recognize lived experience as wisdom, how we celebrate difference, not just tolerate. The Welcoming Community Plan outlined key outcomes such as inclusive leadership, connected and inclusive communities, culture and identity, money, aid. These are not just policy goals, they speak to fundamental human needs. Because when people feel safe, valued, and connected, our well-being strengthens, our sense of purpose deepens, and our contribution to society grows. I also want to acknowledge Jovi for her incredible work over the past 4 years, building relationship, holding space for many voices, and weaving the vision into Hui partnership and welcoming big events. Thank you, Jovi, for your leadership on this space. And also thank you, Councillor Kesh Naidu, for your contribution as chair of welcoming communities. So the question we must keep asking, how do we create a Hamilton that not only welcomes diversity, but thrives because of it? How do we build a society where difference is not a barrier, but a strength? It starts with intention, intentionally creating safe, inclusive and spaces where people can belong, be seen and thrive, no matter their background, faith, language, how they look, how they dress, doesn't matter, you matter. That's why I'm pleased to support the welcoming plan as a migrant, as a mother, and a mental health practitioner. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vani.
Thank you, my colleague.
Welcome. Okay, and that brings us to a close of public forum. A collective thank you for everyone who's come in and presented this morning. We'll move on to the agenda, item 5, confirmation of open minutes from the 5th of June. A question? You moving it? Yes. Councillor Louise will move, Councillor Anna will second. Any questions or comments? All those in favour raise a hand. Any dissenting?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Item 6, the Chair's report. You are welcome for a very long report. I know you love my reports. There's a lot to report on. I thought I would give Councillor Emma the opportunity first if she'd like to comment. You would have seen that Councillor Emma had included her civil defence kaupapa. Is there anything you'd like to add, Emma?
In the report, and I'll speak to it in debate too.
Sure. Are there any comments or questions on the Chair's report? No. Amazing. It's because our community is amazing, so it was quite easy to bring it all together. I will move that, and Councillor Anna will second. And we will open for debate. So, as we close out this triennium, I want to reflect on the meaningful progress we've made across the community and natural environment portfolio. Progress that has made our city more livable, more welcoming, and more connected. This has been a term of purposeful investment. We've upgraded playgrounds across the city with a strong focus on shade, accessibility, and renewal. We've delivered major enhancements at all 3 of our flagship destinations: a new entryway at Hamilton Gardens and a medieval garden in development, a shared entry precinct at Hamilton Zoo and Waiwhakariki, and a refurbished entrance and roof at the Waikato Museum. These are not just capital upgrades. They're about creating spaces that spark joy, pride, and connection. Alongside this, we've continued to support and walk alongside key sectors in our community, including the arts, youth, disability and aged sectors, ethnic communities, community centres, and grassroots groups. This term has reminded me that community-led leadership is one of our city's greatest strengths. I want to sincerely thank the countless community groups who bring people together, who host events, and keep the spirit of Kirikiriroa alive in every neighbourhood. It's also been a privilege to lead this committee with Deputy Chair Anna Casey Cox. Although we come from different political perspectives, we've worked incredibly well together, grounded in mutual respect and a shared belief in the power of community. So thank you, Anna. I want to acknowledge the hundreds of council staff who bring this work to life. Our arborists, rangers, planners, gardeners, lifeguards, zookeepers, museum curators, and so many more. Your dedication is felt across every park, every playground, and public space in the city. At the heart of it all, this work is about people. Helping people is our wider purpose. Whether we're planting trees, restoring gullies, or building places to gather and play, we are creating a city where people can live well, connect deeply, and feel proud to call Hamilton home. So ngā mihi nui, thank you for allowing me this opportunity to serve as chair of this committee, and thank you, committee. Mayor Southgate.
Thank you. First of all, huge thanks to you, Kesh, and to Anna, and also to Emma for her role in civil defence, for the work that you've done. You should be proud. You say you are proud of what's been achieved, and you really should be proud. I just want to make a couple of pointy comments. We have a pie chart that shows the division of funding, with the largest amount of funding that this organisation does going into core infrastructure, water, roads, waste, those kind of things. And then we have a slither of, it's often yellow, I don't know why it's often yellow, and it's the community slither, and it's a very tiny portion of what council spends, and yet is a much valued portion. I liked the way that you described it as considered investment, because it is investment in the well-being of the community. It's particularly important to acknowledge that today, when the core services of council are under debate. Where will that land? We're not quite sure. We know that libraries and parks do make the cut, but we're not sure what other parts of the business that we've been doing since the Local Government Act in 2002 that we've been doing to increase the well-being of the community. I just want to note that we can see clearly today, but if you magnify that out into when we go into the community, which I know we do, people do value this. They value a well-rounded city that offers support and care for its citizens, that supports recreation, outdoor activity, that it supports the arts and culture. We know these are valued. And I go back to the final point is they're valued, and yet they get a very scant attention in terms of funding. But thanks to you and council, they get a lot of attention in terms of focus and drive to do the best we can with the small amount that we do have for community. So thank you very much.
Councillor Pike.
Thank you, Chair. And firstly, being your last community meeting, I also want to acknowledge you for your leadership in this role and throughout the term and the previous term as well. I've always appreciated your open mind as well as your strong commitment to community, and know you'll be missed by many both around the chambers and in the city, although we know we'll see you out and about helping Hamilton people in other ways. And this report highlights many achievements throughout the term, which I won't repeat because there's too many of them. But none of this does happen alone, so I want to acknowledge the great work of our council staff who have led this work and put countless hours into it, but also the many volunteers who contribute to our programs and spaces, from Nature in the City to our community centres and other neighbourhood initiatives. Your time, energy and care are a huge part of what makes a city a great place to live. So thank you, and I know many people are here in the chambers today who are part of that. I also want to firstly apologise for adding so much to the report, but I do want to also recognise Calvin Powell and our civil defence team for the outstanding work they've led over the term. From updating procedures to local response plans to community workshops, and growing our internal capability. These are real steps forward, and this work wouldn't happen without them. We need this sustained support and focused public engagement to continue though throughout the city in the coming years. To everyone in Hamilton, please get prepared. Know your home plan, build your home kits, talk to your whānau. Emergency readiness does not just sit with council, it starts in our homes and our communities. Together we must continue work to build a safer, stronger Hamilton. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Huata.
O tuatahi e mihi ana ki a koe Kesh, koe noho pani tonu ana I te ngaruhanga o tō whaia, e oki e moe e whai. Just acknowledging you and the loss of your mother still. And thank you for your service to our council and to the city. O tira ki a koe te hāpai o, Councillor Anna, for supporting Kish in this committee. I'd like to refer to a whakatauki from King Potatau te whiro, ko tahi te kōwhao te ngira, e kuhana ai te miro mā, te miro pango, te miro whiro. There is only but one eye of the needle through which the white thread, the black thread and the red thread pass. This beautiful whakatauaki reminds us that despite our differences, we all must come together through a common pathway, united, interwoven and valued. In a city like Hamilton, Kirikiriroa, this speaks directly to the strength of our diversity, the lived experiences, the stories, the whakapapa, and the cultures that thread together to create something beautiful and resilient. When we centre our people, when we invest in their well-being, safety, creativity, and connections, the results ripple outward. Our communities become stronger, whānau thrive, and the city itself grows economically and socially. This is not a nice to have, it is an essential. Hamilton City Council's Community and Social Development Strategy and the Welcoming Plan 2025 acknowledge this truth. They commit to inclusivity, empowering tangata whenua, supporting newcomer communities, celebrating diverse identities, and building social cohesion. This is how we future-proof our city, not just by infrastructure and buildings, but by investing in the hearts and minds of our people. Me haere tonu tātou. Let us continue to champion a city where every thread, no matter its colour or texture, is woven into the fabric of Kirikiriroa's future, because when our people are well, our city thrives. Tēnā tātou.
Thank you. Councillor McIndoe.
Chair Cash, this is described as a debate, but I really don't think it is. I think there's absolute unanimity of thought and sentiment around the room. So I simply want to echo the comments of others in thanking you for your leadership. This incredibly comprehensive report that you've provided is not just a report of recent activity, but of course of the work over the 3 years. And it is really exciting to see how much has been achieved. I also echo the acknowledgement of Councillor Anna, because I know that she has a real passion for this, and it's been lovely to see the way you two have worked together. I want to pick up on the point that Mayor Paula made a moment ago, that when you look at that pie chart, what we actually allocate to community purposes is actually a pretty small part of our budget. But boy, doesn't it make a difference. And as we've listened to all of the wonderful presentations today, we are reminded yet again of how much is being done that makes this such a fabulous city. So I want to thank you again for your leadership. I think that everybody accepts the fact that investing in a range of vital community activities and facilities does make this a fabulous city. Long may it continue, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Chair. I also just wanted to briefly say thank you very much for your leadership over the last 3 years, and also for Councillor Anna as well. I know both of you together have been spending a huge amount of time going out to community houses. You've gone out to meet community groups. You've led work, and I want to say thank you also for your commitment, Chair, to protecting our community services and ensuring that we value the staff that deliver them. And I think, we've been really fortunate to have both of you in these roles as Chair and Deputy Chair, so thank you very much, and all the very best for your next endeavours.
Councillor Anna.
I'm just going to do something a little bit different because I've talked to you a lot through the term, and you know how highly I regard you, but I wanted to share some reflections from our community. So to our Chair, with love from our community, oh gosh. Thank you, Kesh, for always standing beside our community centres and for recognising our mahi and the place we hold in our Kirikiriroa neighbourhoods. It's from Neil, Western Community Centre. We felt your love and passion here in Fairfield and Chartwell. That's from Ofa. On behalf of the team at HMS Trust and the Settlement Centre, we thank you for your support and commitment to community and to ensuring the diverse voices of the people who live in Hamilton are considered and heard. Your contribution has been hugely valuable. That's from Ali. Thanks for your service on council over the last 2 terms. We appreciate your support and advocacy of community houses and centres during this time. We will miss your friendly, approachable style. That's from the Good News Community Centre. Every community needs community champions. Kesh, you have been a fierce advocate for us in Fairfield. On behalf of Te Whānau Pūtahi, I would like to thank you for your dedicated service to our city. I wish you all the best in the future and hope to see you around. So that's from Shane. Thank you simply isn't enough, Councillor Kesh. Your support for our community and Puketi House has been nothing short of incredible, and you will be truly missed. With deep appreciation and aroha from all of us at Puketi Community House. Thank you, Kesh, for all the mahi you have done for Te Papa Nui and our community. All the best for you and your whānau, from Joe. And these are just some of the sentiments, Kesh, from our community. You are a treasure. You're a joy to work with because you are respectful and kind. Even when there is a disagreement, you carry on being this way. That is what politics needs. We can and all disagree, and the contestation of ideas matters, but respect is fundamental. Lastly, we have walked together this term knowing that times were tight. Rather than introduce new projects, we held on to what we have, and we streamlined what we could. Community is expansive. There is always more to do and endless opportunities. You know the heart of our community. It beats with yours. Thank you from all of us, Kesh.
Thank you. That was really heartwarming, and I will reach out to all of those houses. In fact, this morning I recruited my son to help me with handwritten notes. So. I also want to extend my thanks, not only to this committee, but to Helen, Angie, Sean, and Janet as well, because with your guidance, Anna and I have benefited greatly from our regular catch-ups. A lot of it is not seen by the whole committee or by the public, but Anna and I are in regular contact, and you guys, we know that we do push, we push our limits, and we have really good, robust discussions, and we're really grateful for those, because that's when the beauty happens and good decisions come forward. To the community unit directors, I won't name you all, but you guys, the amount of work that passes your desks is huge, and I don't think that the rest of council is aware or appreciates it. And I just want to highlight it because the stuff that comes across the unit directors' portfolios affects every single person in the city. So thank you for the work that you do. As mentioned, Councillor Anna, we've had Anna and I go on little tours, and we've done about 3 or 4 cycles this term where we visit every single community house and community group. Between the two of us, we cover every single community event, and that is saying something. That is a huge commitment. And thank you to the houses who have welcomed us, because we know how busy you guys are, but you still welcome us in with a cup of tea or coffee and share your challenges and your successes, which we then relay to the team. So thank you for having that honest and open and transparent relationship with us. I think that those conversations have really strengthened the relationships between council and community. I also want to quickly acknowledge other councillors. This portfolio is humongous, and there's no way I could have been, I could have kept my eyes and ears over the entire portfolio at all times. And so I have had a lot of help from other councillors. So thank you, Councillor Emma, for your work in civil defence, Councillor Louise with the aged and youth and disability and arts. Actually, all of it, so thank you. Deputy Mayor Angela for her work in the creative sector as well. Like I said, every part of this portfolio touches different parts of the sector, of the community. So it's really helpful having councillors on the same page working towards the same goals. I did, thank you for the flowers, acknowledging that it's beautiful, thank you. And to everyone who sent in messages as well. I don't know what's next, Councillor Sarah, I have no idea. I plan on going to the supermarket and cooking dinners and being around for my kids. I've been told that it might wear off after about a month. But I want to be mum for a little while, with the little one starting school in a few months. And yeah, I don't know what's next, but big wide world with lots of opportunities. So we'll see where I get to. But yeah, thank you for helping me put the report together. And all of that information as well. I've been told that it's not often where you get a report encompassing all 3 years, like Councillor Tim said. So feel free to share it, because I will be sharing it as well. With that said, thank you all. We will go to the vote. All those in favour, raise your hand. Any dissenting?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. We'll go to item 7, the community occupancy applications. Welcome, Karen.
Moirina, Karen Kwok, the team leader for sport and community facilities. And beside me I've got Lindsay Walters, who's our recreation facilities advisor. I'd just like to note there's a typo in the council resolution section F. It should read that the lease is to be approved under section 61(2)(a) of the Reserves Act. So the report is seeking approval for 7 community leases. 5 of these leases are renewal of existing leases for the same leased areas. 3 key points of difference with the leases being put up to council. The first one, Frankton Railway lease, is for a significantly reduced land area, which removes the sports park land and reduces it down to the building footprints only. Puketi Neighbourhood House lease is for a 20-year term, which is greater than the maximum under the policy, and the exact leased area and rent is delegated to the GM. Waikato Equitherapy lease is seeking approval of a higher lease rental subsidy of 93.75%, and that's in accordance with the exceptional circumstances clause under the policy. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Karen. Are there any questions? Mangaioli?
Thanks, Chair Kish. Karen, just a question on Wanderers. There's a note there about installing an artificial turf within Porritt Stadium. Is that within the stadium or actually on the ground adjacent to their club rooms?
I can answer that one. So they are looking at potentially the one adjacent to their club rooms. If not, they're looking at probably Field 3, which is the one a little bit further up.
So not actually the ground within the stadium itself?
No, not at the moment, no.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's just with regard to the 5-year term for the Waikato Equitherapy Incorporated. And I acknowledge and understand that there may be use for the cemetery expansion. However, should that be delayed for any reason, we would be flexible with them and look to be able to work on a flexible basis as we are doing currently. Is that correct?
Yeah, so yeah, I've put up a 5-year lease term. When that expires, if we are still not in a position to extend the road, then we'd roll it over on a monthly basis or put up another short-term lease depending on, and that'll depend on whether the funding goes through as well in the next LTP for the road extension to connect up to Vale Road for the cemetery.
And just
in terms of that, do we understand what the minimum viable land size would be for that group?
No, but essentially where the road is proposed to extend to would go right through the middle of their sort of key infrastructure at the moment. So I'm not sure how that would work in terms of viability, whether there would be a portion of land that's still viable for them to use. That would still need to be looked into. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kish. Could you explain the relative merits or rules between 15-year leases and 20-year leases?
Sorry, explain what was the question?
Just why some of them have 15-year leases and some have 20-year leases.
So the maximum under the policy is 15 years, and that's where a group owns its own building on council land. There's a maximum of 10 years under the policy if they're in a council-owned building. So that's under our policy. So the 20 years actually goes outside of our maximum in the policy. We have done that in the past for the likes of Settlement Centre, Korte, where there's significant facility developments, for example, and it's still within the maximum term allowable under the Reserves Act.
So you are comfortable with all the 15-year leases? And do you see any benefit in looking at 20-year leases for those? Or what are your thoughts on that, please?
You're talking in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got the Community Occupancy Policy Review coming up, which I think is, the time to review it and have a look at those. So I think the 20-year or the longer term leases, which used to be put in as standard in the past, in my opinion, those would be suitable where there is significant investment or significant facility development or exceptional circumstances that we look at longer term lease. 20 years is a long time, and the city's growing, so we've got to be mindful of balancing those two things.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I think my question might have been answered. In terms of Puketi Neighbourhood House, being that it's a fit-for-purpose new development, but there's no right of renewal. But I heard you say, Karen, that the policy is up for renewal?
Yes, it's to be reviewed.
Review. So that will be the incoming council.
Yes.
And is Puketi Neighbourhood House then, given it's got a 20-year lease, because we're redoing it, right? It's a significant development of a facility.
Yes. So the reason for the 20-year lease is because the size of the development, the fact that the building, we've partnered with Puketi Neighbourhood House throughout the whole, the consultation, the reclassification, the design, it's fit for purpose for Puketi Neighbourhood House. We don't see them going anywhere anytime soon, and hence that's why we've recommended a longer lease term. So they would need to put in for a new lease application at the 20-year mark. We don't have any right of renewals under our policy.
Is that something that you would be looking at to bringing back to the new council, or will it be up to elected members to raise that in terms of right of renewal?
Staff can certainly look at it and then raise it with the councillors.
Okay, all right. Thank you, and thank you for a clear report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you, Karen. Would someone like to move? Councillor Louise and Councillor Max to second. Sorry, I need to look this way as well. Open for debate, Councillor Louise? No. There are no speakers. Alrighty. I will thank the team for their work and 7 leases in this report, so I'm sure that would have taken a bit of time to put together. So thank you, Karen and team. And in full support of that extended over the policy, more than the policy, the 20-year lease on Pukeri Neighbourhood House. That is a huge investment, both from the House and Council, so happy to support that as well. No other speakers, we will go to the vote. All those in favour, raise a hand. Any dissenting?
The motion is carried unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. We will take the next item before we break for morning tea, so we'll go to item 15 now, to the GM report, please.
We've got a new motion.
There is, yes. And just to make everyone aware, there is a motion on the table that's been moved by Councillor Andrew and seconded by Councillor Tom. Has that been sent through to everyone?
Yes, Andrew circulated.
Ah, perfect.
And I'll pump it up on the screen as well.
Okay.
So I will take the bulk of the report as read, but since the original report was prepared, there have been further discussions with the group that have resulted in a refinement of their proposal, which you can see in the new motion. And as Mark has already said, it's a simpler initiative that involves the installation of heritage signs beneath existing street signs, and this revised approach fits within Council's existing request signage process. So we have an existing process that can actually be followed, and it requires minimal staff support. Additionally, a factual error in the original report has been corrected. The report previously stated that the proposal arose following the decline of a request to rename part of Ward Street. In fact, the renaming was initially approved, but a notice of motion to revoke the decision was lodged and subsequently deferred, meaning the change did not progress. This context relates to the origins of discussions with the group, but it is separate from the proposal now under consideration. The matter before the committee today is the group's refined signage request, which can be progressed through Council's standard process, and there is also an invitation for up to 2 councillors to participate alongside the group. So, any questions?
I have one, just in terms of inviting the 2 councillors. Is that just an open invitation to anyone, or are we nominating, or is it just up to 2? Or how do we? What would you suggest, Helen?
But change to nomination.
Take some volunteers.
Do we have volunteers right now? I know that it's the time's a bit tricky heading to the end of the triennium, or we can park this and whoever is interested can speak to Toti outside of this decision. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll just park it for now? Okay. Cool. Do we have any questions on the motion in front of us? No? Everyone okay? We've got a mover and a seconder. Yeah. So we'll go into debate. Councillor Andrew.
Thank you, Chair Kesh, and thank you to Helen Parkey and the staff for working hard to resolve this in the last few days. I think we've got a good result. When I was a teenager with the freedom and fitness to cycle around Hamilton, I realised there was a story behind many of the street names I came across, like Peach Grove Road. I was excited to discover a small plaque explaining that there was once a grove of peaches on Peach Grove Road. I remember finding out why Garden Place was called Garden Place, and fascinated to discover Te Rapa Pā was at the other end of Hamilton to Te Rapa, thanks to another small plaque near the hospital. To be able to learn more about our city's stories is a must, and thanks to volunteers, it is easy. All this motion is about is confirming expectations clearly with councillors so that staff can have clear direction and authority to avoid having to write more reports. So let's cut a little bit of red tape. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Tim.
Thank you, Chair Cash. When former Mayor Margaret began her presentation earlier, she said, look, this is really simple, let's just get on and do it. And she's right, and I fully agree with her, but so often these things only happen when a lot of people have shown a lot of energy and enthusiasm behind the scenes to bring it to our attention. So I do want to thank Toti and the Historical Society. I want to acknowledge the work that Councillor Andrew has done with Helen and her team, because we have now got a really sensible and appealing motion before us. As Andrew has just mentioned, there is so much of our history around the city that most of us don't know, and this is a very simple way of ensuring that we can raise that awareness, and we'll get people just stopping and having a look, thinking about the origins of our city. We do have so many wonderful buildings with interesting history. We tend to think sometimes we're a young city, therefore we're not historical, but we are in the context of New Zealand's evolution. And I have spent many times travelling around other parts of the world and just enjoying seeing plaques and poles and reading about the history, and I really look forward to more of that being possible here in Hamilton, because we do have a fabulous city, we do have a wonderful history. We haven't been good at telling it. This is a good way of changing that. So thank you to everybody for making this possible.
Mayor Paula?
Thank you. I also want to echo the thanks for Toti and others who've been keeping alive heritage. And I think it should be all heritage across the city, no matter what. More of the stories told. And I like the development of QR codes. I hope that this will eventually extend into an app-based tour. I remember my mother was part of the Hamilton East Heritage brochure, the very first one, and map. She did a lot of work on that. She still has copies of it. Oh, there you go. That's some of my mum when she was a corporate library here. Thank you so much. And I know that it's well received, and she still delivers them to the cafes along Hamilton East when she gets a spare day, Margaret. But I think there's a possibility going forward for the new council to look at app-based stories, which are so common around the world now in terms of the way that you understand local histories. Thank you.
Councillor Maria.
Oh, kia ora tātou. Thank you to Toti for the mahi and the energy that you've put into this kaupapa, and I can already see the direct links that it has to our He Paumanawa Ora strategy, in particular the pillar of wellbeing and history. It would be great to see how you might work in with Les Tūteo, the founder of Te Ahure Māori Tourism, who already does walking tours through the city to highlight our different heritage and culture, which I think Mayor Paula was alluding to. So I'm excited to see how we can walk hand in hand, and if there is no other councillors that volunteer, I'm keen.
Thank you. Councillor Emma?
Thank you, Chair. I just want to quickly thank Toti and Footsteps in History for their submission today, and also their wider work in the community. I want to thank Helen and staff for looking into solutions with this group also. Time moves so fast and is unfortunately often lost without some deliberate work by people of the community. So we have some great stories to tell and some significant stories to tell, which help us understand the paths that we walk on. So I just wanted to take the time to thank everyone for their work, and I very much look forward to seeing history being told a little bit better in our city. Thank you.
And again, thank you and acknowledge Councillor Andrew and others who have worked very closely with Helen and team to get us to this point. Thank you, Margaret, former Mayor Margaret, for your enthusiasm and energy and for ensuring that this did come forward. It is a project that we all do support, and so I'm just glad to see it happen. Thank you. Councillor Andrew, any right of reply? No. We will go to the vote on a show of hands. All those in favour, please raise your hand. Any dissenting?
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. We will break for morning tea back at 11 o'clock, please. much better than my my tapping. We're up to item 8. We have a quorum to keep going. Thank you to Amy and Anna for your beautiful baking. You have spoiled us and set a really high bar. Item 8, if we can welcome Tiki.
Oh, you might need a chair. Yeah, BYO chair. Morena councillors. We're here today to seek approval of the schedule for the DC Community Grant. The funding was confirmed through the annual plan, so this is the final step in the process of setting up this grant fund. The schedule has been developed with the expertise of our community grants team, and the criteria align really strongly with the fund purpose that looks at minimal impact on council and community organisations in particular. Having a schedule is really important to provide clarity for our applicants, and also means that we can apply the grant consistently. The first round is expected in probably early 2026, depending on the new triennium calendar and how the dates fall. And would also finally just note that the grant and the schedule are completely independent of the DC policy and don't affect how it's applied or how it's interpreted. Other than that, I will leave it to any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Welcome, Councillor Moko. No questions. I'm happy to move and paper, scissors, rock. Councillor Sarah will second. No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you to the team for the work that they've done on this, in particular in working with the community grants team in developing the criteria, and I'm happy to support. Are there any speakers to this item?
Thank you to Tiki for her work on putting this together. Thanks.
Mayor Paula?
Thank you. I think from where we started, it's a very pragmatic solution. And given what I said before about the slender amount of resources that we are able to apply to the community sector, I think this is another way which we can enable them to, on behalf of the wider community, to improve facilities that our community enjoys. So win-win there. Thank you. Thank you to staff. I know it wasn't easy to get through the technical detail and make sure that it was a good, robust approach.
Perfect. We'll go to the vote on it with a show of hands. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, we move to item 9 and the welcoming plan. Philippa and Jovi, welcome.
Tina koto katoa. Good morning, councillors. I am Jovi Abelianosa, Ethnic Development Advisor. I'm here with Philippa Clear, my manager. It is with great pleasure and privilege that we present the updated Hamilton Kirikiriroa Welcoming Plan for your endorsement. This plan reaffirms our city's commitment to being a welcoming and inclusive place for all who call it home. This updated plan is the result of conversations, collaborative workshops with the settlement sector and ethnic community leaders, as well as in consultation with units within council. We especially acknowledge the importance of Mana Whenua, their partnership and commitment to welcoming communities Te Waharoa ki ngā hapori have been instrumental in delivering a successful welcoming plan, acknowledging the presence of Matua Piripi to support us here today. I would also like to acknowledge Vani, Ravinder, and the other speakers who mentioned the welcoming plan earlier. This updated plan builds upon the previous welcoming plan, which earlier this year saw Hamilton Kirikiriroa achieve recognition as an established welcoming community. It outlines 76 actions, of which 36 are new and 40 revised, co-created with our community partners who will help us deliver on the outcomes. By working together with committed organizations and ethnic communities, we can keep each other accountable as we work towards achieving the next level, that of an advanced welcoming community. It would be remiss of me if I did not acknowledge the support, the passion, and commitment of Councillor Kesh, who led and has been an important advocate of this program ever since she joined Council. She sat in the Welcoming Communities Steering Group and continued to do so when it became the Welcoming Communities Funding Panel. She always had the community at heart when asking questions and making decisions. But it's one thing to claim passion and commitment, and another if one does not show up at the places and spaces where you find community. And Kesh, she did. So thank you, Kesh. Thank you also to all the councillors who I know support the welcoming communities. With that said, we respectfully request your endorsement of this updated welcoming plan so we can continue to work together, learn from each other, and not allow ignorance and fear to define who belongs in our neighborhoods and in our city. We can continue creating spaces that uphold the value of Manakitanga and Whanaungatanga, creating a more vibrant, connected, and welcoming Hamilton Kirikiriroa. Ngā mihi nui, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jovi. Questions? No questions? Thank you. Oh, yes?
I do. I was just looking at what I was going to say in debate, and then I thought, actually, that's really a question. We heard earlier in the morning Ravinder present and talk about the ability to extend past Welcoming Week to support more throughout the year events that communities do that assist this welcoming plan. Have you got a view on that? Is it possible, or what would be the constraint? Presumably funding's a constraint, but what would be the constraint to doing more, do you think?
So regarding Ravinder's point earlier, we do have the Welcoming Communities Fund, and that allows community groups to apply for initiatives that they want to do during the year. But the particular week is really just a national or a local celebration to just focus and highlight welcoming communities.
And to what extent is that fund oversubscribed on a yearly basis, just out of interest?
With the Welcoming Fund, we have some quite clear criteria around it, particularly being new events or a change in an event. And so we have, each year we have spent the full budget, which our community continue to be really grateful for. And we also have a lot of groups that come through our smaller grants, our community initiatives grants, and some of the other ethnic groups come through the bigger grant rounds as well. So what we have been doing quite a bit of work with is supporting groups to partner together and allow bigger events to really showcase the community on a whole rather than them working in silos. So I think there's still room for us to do more of that. And it's really positive to see the way that that's going, because I know it's not the case across the country necessarily, but we've got some groups that are really stepping up in this space to do that. So the Welcoming Fund plays a big part in enabling this, as do our other funds.
So the fund leans into new or changed events or established calendar events. Which one?
The fund is more for new events or a significant change in the event. So again, it might be a similar event, Diwali, but now it's groups coming together to deliver something wider for the community. There is an opportunity for us to review that when we review our community grants policy next year as well.
Thank you. Thank you. No other questions? Thank you. Jovi doesn't seem quite adequate. I think we can all agree that Jovi is one of the driving forces of the Welcoming Communities Plan, and with Philippa's guidance, she has been able to achieve so much in a short space of time, supporting so many groups and being present at every event in the city. So thank you doesn't seem enough, but we appreciate the connections that you've made and the strength that it brings to council and our relationships with the outside community. Also acknowledging our Mana Whenua representative who's come in to support Jovi. As you would have seen in the report, our Mana Whenua groups play a huge role in promoting and making the plan successful. So thank you for the role that you play in welcoming newcomers to Hamilton. I want to acknowledge the Welcoming Communities Advisory Group, who are a group of volunteers who come together every so often. Thank you for your leadership in the space, for your interest. Both Councillor Anna and I sit on that advisory group as well. Important to note that this plan is co-created, it's co-owned, it's not just a council plan, it's the community owning it and driving the outcomes. If you looked at the plan itself as an attachment, I've said that the Welcoming Plan reflects our shared commitment to ensure everyone who calls a city home, whether recently arrived or born here, feels a deep sense of belonging. The success we're seeing is no accident. It comes from intentional conversations, community-led action, and a collective belief that we are stronger together. From the many, many conversations I have with many, many people who are not born here, I can honestly say that they choose Hamilton as their place of a new home because they feel a welcoming sense in our city. And that is saying something. It just doesn't happen. It's intentional. So let's keep going and building a city where identity is embraced, contribution is celebrated, and every person, no matter their journey, can say that I belong here. So thank you. Mayor Paula as the seconder.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you to staff. I remember this in its first iteration and how it's gone from strength to strength, and we've learned a lot. Thank you, Jovi and team, everyone, for the work that you do. You're certainly out and about everywhere, talking to all groups, and given that we've got 170 ethnicities in Hamilton now, that's a big workload. I am keen on, I love the Welcoming Week that puts a complete lens and focus on the fact that we are diverse and that we are a welcoming city. I also support initiatives that retain a strong calendar throughout the year of the major cultural events. Because I know that sometimes they don't exist without substantial sponsorship in their own communities. A lot of the leaders of those groups have a full-time work somewhere else as well, and in addition they've got to, chase up sponsorship dollars. So I think there's a balance to be had between making sure that existing successful events do not fall over, but also that new communities, given that I don't think all communities have the same capacity. New ethnic groups to be reflected in some of the events. I know the ones that I attend, and there are many, many, many of those, but I'm also aware there are some communities that aren't represented in that kind of forward-facing way. So I embrace that. I want to thank you for the work you've done, but I always, always want to acknowledge when we come to this decision, the handprint of former councillor Philip Yong in getting this work done. There is always a visionary, and I'm really grateful that people like me and you, Cash, can stand in the footprints of the visionaries that started the direction and build on that strength, and you certainly have embodied building on the strength of people who've been before. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor Paula. Councillor Maria.
Ola kia ora to Philippa, JV and Yona for all your mahi and aroha in this space. I was quite surprised, a little bit frightened to see my image in the document, but honoured that it's associated with Outcome 1, inclusive leadership. Ka pai tēnā. One of my most favourite events to attend, and I see a direct link to the Welcoming Plan 2025, which I wholeheartedly support, is the citizenship ceremonies. And I know we run everywhere on the smell of an oily rag, but I can't wait to see us honour and celebrate all of the people that choose to make Kirikiriroa their home in a fashion that really honours them. So let's think outside the box in terms of our citizenship ceremony and how we might incorporate the different cultures that are there. If I take the example of the university-wide graduations at Te Whare Wānanga Waikato, which I managed for a good 10 years on the original marae of Te Kuhinga Marama, when people would go and get their degree, and they're from all over the world, because anyone could graduate on the marae, their families would go up with them, and they would sing a waiata or do a dance, or even with our Hamsia crew, Cook Island crew, they'd bring their drums, and that doesn't cost anything, but an opportunity to embrace that. So that's what I would encourage as an extension of the Welcoming Week, because this makes citizenship ceremony like fantastically celebratory. Tēnā tātou.
Thank you. Councillor Tip.
Kia ora, Chair Cash. Gosh, we're really not having any debates today, are we? And what a fabulous final meeting this is. Could I begin also by acknowledging Jovi and Philippa for your presentation this morning, and particularly for your work and those who have supported you in bringing forward this policy, or update rather. I want to associate myself with every word of Mayor Paula's contribution. I was particularly pleased that she mentioned our dear friend, the late Philip Young, because I used to think back in my days as an MP that I saw more of Philip at the weekend than I saw of my own wife. He was literally everywhere, did such a fabulous job supporting all our many different communities, and I actually felt sorry for whoever was going to have to follow in his footsteps. But Jovi, you are a superb replacement, and I acknowledge that we see you everywhere as well, and thank you. I love your weekly newsletters, which I often rely upon to find out what's going on in the city. And I want to make the comment that these things don't just happen. Chair Cash, you made a comment that new migrants in our city often feel particularly welcome in Hamilton. That doesn't just happen, because we know that there are tensions, there is some bigotry in every community, but actually I'm really proud of the way that Hamilton embraces our multiculturalism. I think we do much better than many other cities in the country, and it's in large measure down to the sort of work that Jovi and Philip before her and our community team are leading. Every weekend, it seems that there's at least one activity, quite often several, celebrating the different multicultural new communities here in our city. It can be quite exhausting trying to get around them all, but it's also incredibly uplifting, makes me very, very proud of our city. I think it's so good to see many young children learning, particularly if they were born in New Zealand, but their ancestry is recently from other countries, learning about that culture, their language, and keeping all of those values alive and celebrating who they are, what their genealogy is, while at the same time embracing New Zealand. So we do really well, and thank you, everybody. Long may this continue.
Thank you. Councillor Emma.
Thank you, Chair Cash. I also want to start by acknowledging, first of all, Thork for their contribution in this project, our staff, Philippa, Yona, and particularly Jovi for your outstanding dedication in the community. I know each community is so different and unique, and they all have their own requirements, and it requires a lot of patience and true care to work with them and understand their needs. And Jovi, you really champion this, so thank you so much for all you do and all the many hours of the day and the weekend and evenings. Thank you for your support. As we heard today from Vaniji in public forum, welcoming is connected to wellbeing. This plan might get lost sometimes in the wide scope of the work council do, but the significance of it shouldn't be lost. 27% of Hamiltonians relate to different ethnic groups. These are people who collectively make a significant contribution to our city. They're our doctors, our teachers, our technicians, and a part of our schools, our neighbourhoods, and they just add so much to our city. And the Welcoming Week and Fund support these people into our spaces and enable them to stay and continue to add to the work and the richness of our community. So thank you to Chair Kesh for your work in supporting this, and also acknowledging Councillor Philip Young for creating these opportunities. So I wholeheartedly support this project and look forward to further flourishing.
Thank you. Councillor Anna?
Yeah, there's not a lot more to add than what everyone said, because it's all been said so well. But I just want to acknowledge what I see as a bit of an evolution of this plan into what I would call a Te Tiriti-based plan. And I do acknowledge Thork and the wonderful relationship that has developed, and Jovi in particular, your leadership in that, and the openness that I see of our migrant community to that relationship and to understanding what it means, and no fear in that. Like it's an opportunity, and the Māori value of manaaki and welcome has always been there, and it's about recognising that and working together to make that stronger. So I just really, I've been really humbled by that and witnessing that, and just really appreciate it. And one of the best events that I've been to this year was the Te Tiriti translated into all the different languages. And again, the embracing of that by our diverse communities. And I just think it's like a maturing of our nation that we are actually leading in Kirikiriroa. So just really want to acknowledge everyone for their contributions to that, and Kesh for your amazing leadership too in this space. Thank you.
Thank you. Just touching on something Councillor Anna just spoke about, during the Welcoming Week, one of my favourite events is when newcomers are welcomed to their first pōwhiri. And I've been to a few of those now, and it's just amazing to see their knowledge growing, their appreciation for New Zealand culture. You have to understand these people coming into a new home, learning so much already about, where my local school and supermarket, and, learning so much, but then to have this other layer of welcome, so to speak. They really embrace that experience, and I know firsthand just how much they appreciate it. So thank you again to our mana whenua groups for helping us do that. The other thing that I love seeing is when we go to these events on weekends, and there are many, many of those, is when you see people attending who are not from that cultural group. And so you see over time the audiences are getting quite diverse, and it's that curiosity from other people who live in Hamilton, who are friends with people from different backgrounds, kids going to the same schools, your neighbours, and you're supporting each other, and that's really cool to see as well. And you'd see, the Chinese festival, the Lantern Festival, there's not many Chinese people in the crowd. It's just incredible to see the embracing of our differences. And I did note that there would be an events calendar being developed as part of one of the actions, and I think that would be quite good, because we all depend on Jovi's newsletter, and so having a transparent way to know what's coming up when would be really cool. And I'll leave it there. Thank you all for your incredible work in this space. We will go to the vote on a show of hands. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you. And to item 10. Philippa, you're back again.
Talo Falava, my name is Joanna Manu, Senior Community Advisor for the Community Development Team, and with me is Philippa Clear, the Community Development and Grants Manager. This report provides an update and snapshot of the Community Development Team's focus and work aligned with delivering of our community and social development strategy. Key highlights include the strengthening of interagency collaboration through facilitation and relationship management, capacity building support for Te Whare Kokana in Melville, and the ongoing success of the Enviro Schools programs across Hamilton and community funding. In addition to these highlights, the community development team have contributed to other key outcome areas and goals of this strategy, ensuring that the work delivered has supported the needs of Kirikiriroa communities, which is also attached to this report. The community and social development strategy will expire in 2026, and we look forward to reviewing this and adapting outcomes and goals to further align with the direction of Council and our community. Philippa and I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the support and ongoing commitment of our elected members to our community and social development strategy. Our team are grateful for the involvement and interest you show in the community events we support and in meeting with the groups we work with. Thank you for working hard to balance the views of our wider community with the needs that we see daily across Kirikiriroa. Ia manuia, a soifua. Any questions you might have?
Thank you, Iona. Are there any questions? No. Mangaioli?
Sure, thanks, Iona, Philippa, for your fantastic report. How are the fruit trees progressing?
Which ones? We've got quite a few across the community.
The ones you reported on, how are they tracking?
Ones? Oh, yeah. No, they're doing really well. They haven't harvested quite yet, but it's something that we've put out there for our communities to not only to engage with within key community centres across the city, but also opportunities for them as part of Kai security and Kai resilience within our whānaus and communities that we work with.
We continue to get requests from community houses for more fruit trees, or how we can be a bit more creative about where they're planted. But with it, there's also an education piece. So how do they maintain and manage these trees? And often I know Iona's working with, council staff or teams to bring them along and teach people, how do you prune these trees? How do we get the most out of them? And teaching the tamariki and rangatahi how to be responsible and kaitiaki of these trees, rather than going in and ripping them out of parks for the fun of it.
Yeah, I think it's a really good, smart initiative, particularly for food security. Who makes up the interagency groups? What agencies are there?
So we've got different interagencies happening across the city. However, for example, for our West Hamilton interagency, we will have key stakeholders such as our police. We've got Ministry of Education, we've got schools within that community, community centres that are part of it. We've also got City Safe also involved in part of the stakeholders. We've also got part of the other key stakeholders are also truancy, so they're part of a bigger group that come and support those particular issues or concerns that are happening within that particular community. But we've got a wide range of key stakeholders who are part of the interagencies. Yep.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you. No other questions. Thank you, Iona and Philippa. Councillor Anna, you were wanting to move this one? Yeah. Thank you.
So just a huge thanks to the team for their work on this strategy. I think it's, it's where the rubber hits the road really with our communities, this strategy. And it highlights really what can be achieved. They network, they build, and they create opportunity, and they mobilise our community. And they raise the potential of what it means to be in community. I see it as the strategy of our community centres, of our theatres, of our arts community, of our schools, of our community gardens, of our crop swaps, and it's just where everything just gets real and connects. And it's the work that really makes a difference in the lives of people for whom community is a lifeline. And yeah, people need that variously in their lives, I think. And so this strategy really brings our community together. And I want to acknowledge especially the work that's been done that Sarah talked about this morning with Te Whare Kokona. That's just been huge because that's been able to continue and flourish, and it's such a meaningful space for that community. So I just really want to acknowledge that. And this strategy is also about partnerships. And I believe that we're all committed here to the partnerships and also to the, and I don't usually talk in this way, but the cost savings that are in those partnerships. Our communities do so much work for the well-being of our community, and often it isn't paid, often it's voluntary, and that's huge. So the return on our investment when we support community is immense. And we can't actually do any of this work alone. So this strategy, for me, it's about effectiveness and efficiency, if we want to talk about it like that. I wanted to also, I guess this term has been a lot about holding on to things, and there were cuts proposed in our long-term plan discussions that were going to undermine a lot of this work, and that's scary. So I think that's one thing that when people say, what are you proud of this term, it's holding on to our team that does such incredible work in our communities. Thank you.
Mangai Oli, a seconder.
Yeah, in the spirit of not debating but making statements of positive nature, I think yeah, I really endorse what Councillor Anna said, and I think the you know, it's really nice to hear the late Philip Young being mentioned, celebrated. He was such a stalwart for the city and such a hard-working, you know, member, and he made a real positive difference. And I think of the community development team, and lovely to see Yona here presenting, you know, and the depth of relationships, experience, knowledge that our community development team have of the city has a real tangible value. As Councillor Anna said, always community development's first up on the chopping block for cost savings. But just you know, a reminder for council and the next council, when that conversation inevitably happens again, to me the real value of this team is in times of civil defence emergency management, you know, particularly during the COVID response, the relationships that the community development team had across interagencies and through the communities is an invaluable resource. It's tangible, and I think there should be a real a value put on that. Outside of their normal day-to-day work, it's when an emergency happens, their value to the city is immense. Kia ora tātou.
Mayor Paula?
Thank you to the staff for the work. Won't repeat what I've said about the pie chart, but moving on from that and noting on page, what is that page? Page 129 of Diligent, where the split of funding just from one fund that we administer through this part of our business, you can see that the dollars that we're talking about to support our community are really quite low, very low, almost minuscule in actual fact. And I do need to say that in this time of debate, again, about core business, and then a lot of rhetoric in the community about what is nice to have and what the musts have, and at the very worst end of that debate, the must-haves are just roads, water and waste. But I reject that assumption that some of this stuff that we're doing isn't a must-have in the way that it enables our community to be well and function as part of the city. But even if you put that aside, look at the economic benefit that we derive as well as the social benefits. For every dollar that we allocate, you're getting $52 of additional support. If you think about some of the projects, and I haven't sat on the funding group for some time now, so thank you to those who do, because I know it's really hard and to allocate. When you look at that and where it's being allocated with 40% into social, but sport and recreation a very small amount, when the other funders, the partners come to the table, they bring a lot to the table, and without them, we wouldn't see the work done. the work could not be complete because our money is not sufficient in itself. So I hope that when we go forward as a new council, or hope when the new council goes forward, that they still do place a value on the investment into the community appropriately, and that it isn't the victim of another cut, because I think that is short-sighted in terms of the strength of our city in the long term.
Thank you, and I'll try to keep this short, but I did want to quickly acknowledge staff for their work on this report, and particularly acknowledge Iona for her work with Te Whare Kokonga. Sometimes there's people out there who, although they come with really great intent, they just need a little bit of guidance to help make them more effective, and so I think Iona, you've been really instrumental in turning this around for them. Also acknowledge Ro and Kirsten at Glenview for their incredible work in supporting this house, and I know they're very excited with the new leadership there, and excited to hand it back over. As Councillor Anna mentioned, these partnerships just deliver so much value, so that can't be understated. So thanks everyone for the work on this, and you appreciate their time.
Thank you. I want to say well done on the work done with the interagency groups that have been established in different parts of the city. I attended quite a few interagency group meetings when the Rotatuna one was developed. And it was incredible to see how it was really the community that owned the actions that needed to be done, but it was our community development advisor that actually facilitated that conversation to happen. So much to Mayor Paula's point, it's council doesn't need to do it all, but we have a role in facilitating this good stuff to happen, and bringing those groups together, you know, the schools, City Safe, community businesses, and allowing those outcomes to be reached. It was awesome to see. So I'm glad that it's happening in other parts of Hamilton as well. We heard from Public Forum, Creative Waikato, the Enviro Schools. There's just so much that happens within the community development team. It's like they've got their fingers everywhere, and it's this interface between community and council, and it's demystifying what council does. So thank you for all that you and the team do. You've heard today that your work is invaluable. I remember when I first got to council, and you're trying to understand the difference between a strategy and a policy and a plan and an action plan, it's just really cool to see that this term we've managed to refresh the strategy that's overarching, but also the 4 plans that sit within it. So you've got the welcoming plan, the Hamilton age-friendly plan, disability policy and action plan, and the Rangatahi action plan. And that may not sound like a huge amount of work, but it actually has been. And it sets the next council up really well for actually following through with the outcomes that we all want to see. Thank you. Councillor Anna. Did you have a right of reply? Nope. Awesome. Okay, we'll go to the vote with a show of hands. All those in favour, please raise your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you, everyone. Item 11, the Disability Action Plan Annual Update.
Kia ora, elected members and Mangai Māori, ko Michelle Rivers Takuingawa. I'm the Disability and Older Persons Advisor in the Community Development Team, and as you all know, here is my manager, Philippa Clare. She's the Manager for Community and Development and Grants Manager. Today we are presenting a report for the final annual update for the Disability Policy Action Plan 2022 to 2025, which is due to be reviewed in the coming year. This report provides an annual update of progress made towards the actions outlined within the plan. There are a couple of achievements we are particularly excited about. the establishment of the Disability Advisory Group, which met for the first time yesterday. The group will support internal teams seeking advice and direction on inclusion and accessibility matters across our city. They will also raise issues they are hearing about or seeing in the community and support the review and development of the 2026 to 2029 Disability Policy Action Plan. We are also excited about the progress that has been made with the accessibility audits completed across a number of council facilities, parks, venues, including H3, Hamilton Gardens Precinct, and Porritt Stadium. The great information coming through to project managers has helped support a more accessible Hamilton. We want to thank elected members for their ongoing support of Council's Disability Policy Action Plan, and specifically want to acknowledge Councillor Hutt for her support and passion in the disability space in helping to make our city more accessible and inclusive. Thank you for considering the report. We're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Michelle. And Councillor Louise, you indicated moving this? Cool. Is to second, Councillor Max. Any questions? No. Thank you. Oh, yes?
Sorry, just in terms of very excellent report, like the little traffic lights actually even look like traffic lights. That's quite cute. In terms of that, do you feel that you have sufficient to go forward and implement some of the actions that we've identified? Sufficient support from Council?
Yes. There's definitely some tweaks we're looking forward to making in the plan. Some things were great in concept to start with and had been included in the plan from the community, but actual delivery of it proved to not apply to Hamilton quite as much as it would another city. So with the benefit of having our Disability Advisory Group now in play, we are really confident that this new plan is going to build on what we've done already, but also allow us to focus on some gaps that we've got. And there are some across our city, and some are financial restrictions, which our community are really understanding of, but I think we can be creative with how we approach some of these things under the new action plan and with this group's support.
So, for example, I noticed the Halberg program on page 150, which is a sport-related or a recreation-related one. I presume, well, I shouldn't presume, is it correct that it's Sport Waikato leaning into that as partners with us, or because you're right, not all of these actions we can do alone. So it says for improve accessible recreation for youth, and I wonder if that's consistent with the Sport Waikato plan, or have we approached them for partnership or for them to take a lead in this area, or?
Yes, we have met with the Halberg Foundation around that. I think 100% there's capacity to incorporate the goals of Sport Waikato within that work. It's not a matter of saying we don't want to work on it or we can't work on it, but we're quite aware that probably progress is better made from organisations that aren't necessarily council. So going into this next plan, we will look at those partnerships more closely and ensure that there is real alignment and there's ability to make progress, because we don't want to present to council after the next plan saying, oh, it's paused or it's on hold. We want to see progress made, and those, although there is a partnership, there needs to be a clearer commitment from our partners around delivery on some of these actions, so they feel successful.
In a similar way to the age-friendly as a
100%, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. No other questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Councillor Louise.
Thank you. I want to reassure people interested in the earlier items that it was not a disinterest in them, that I did not debate. It was merely a commitment to a swift meeting. But having the disability portfolio, I do have a few things to say on this one. This is a community that we have a long way to go with in terms of repairing the relationship. And it is not in any way the fault of our current council, but a legacy issue with us as a society. And there are decisions that were made years or even decades ago that still haunt us in terms of how they did not consider the different needs of people in our community. And I really love our Disability Action Plan because it seeks to address the chronic loneliness and isolation that happens when moving around the city has too many barriers, when going to a park, a playground, or a facility has too many barriers, or even when participating in democracy has too many barriers. So I can't underemphasize how important even things like doing an audit of our facilities, parks and playgrounds is in terms of addressing these legacy issues, and how those recommendations from those audits flow into our upgrades and renewals. This is a massive change in terms of the way that we incorporate all the people who live in our city into being able to participate in our city. I also want to acknowledge the pressure of being a disabled elected member and the pressure on our single disability advisor. We are two people, like 1, 2, and we are trying to champion the diverse perspectives and needs of a whole community in our respective roles. But it is the job of every person in this organisation to question and challenge how the city can be more accessible and accommodating. And our Disability Advisory Group is a ginormous step in terms of embedding the voice of disabled people in this organisation and ensuring the breadth and depth of the disabled experience is considered at all parts of this organisation. So we have made some huge wins, and even if it seems really small, like an audit is maybe not that hard to do, or setting up an advisory group is not that hard to do, but this is repairing a relationship with a community that so desperately needs to be considered. Thank you.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Maxine, did you?
In the spirit of Louise's earlier acknowledgement to keeping the meeting brief, I'd just like to say thank you to Louise for the thoughtful way that she brings these issues to us, and also to our staff for the magnificent work that they are doing to build and repair the work that's going on. And thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Mayor Paula?
Thank you. I do want to take this time, because it is the last community committee. I don't want to extend my time here, but Louise, thank you very much for the work that you've done. Like you say, almost single-handedly from a governance perspective, although I know this committee has linked in and supported the work you've done. I really support the approach of doing better as we go forward, infusing the needs of the disability community into our everyday business so that it doesn't become an expensive retrofit or different in the future where we've had to do that. So I hope, again, that this council will consider retaining a focus and even enhancing a focus with the disabled community to go forward in a better way. It's not additional work, it's about how you do the work. So thank you very much for your work. And I have to say I've had hardly anything to do with it, so I'm particularly grateful that other people take a lead in some of these portfolios. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Louise, Michelle, for your work in this space. It was really good to see the Disability Advisory Group, the interest that that it raised, with 50 people indicating interest and 23 expressions of interest fully completed. So that's really good to see. Well done. Did you have anything to add? Perfect. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour, just raise your hands. Any dissenting? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Let's move to item 12, Lake Domain Reserve change of classification. Thank you.
Kia ora koutou. My name's Emily James. I'm a Strategy and Policy Advisor for the program and planning group in the community, customer and community group. I'm new to council, so this is my first time presenting. I would like to briefly highlight some key points from the report and outline the decision that we are seeking today. So we are seeking your approval to begin the statutory process to reclassify parts of Lake Domain Reserve from Recreation Reserve to Local Purpose Water Infrastructure Reserve under Section 24 of the Reserves Act. This reclassification is a necessary legislative step to enable the delivery of 2 new 25 megalitre water reservoirs as part of the Infrastructure Acceleration Fund project. The decision before you today is solely about initiating the reclassification process. It is not a decision on the reservoir project itself. Further information on the IAF project will be presented tomorrow in a briefing by the project team. So formal public consultation is proposed to run from the 13th of October to 17th of November, which will align with the designation process under the Resource Management Act. This consultation will allow the community to test and respond to the proposal before any final decision is made. We will return to the appropriate committee early next year with the outcomes of consultation, including a hearings process, before seeking a final decision on the classification change. It is important to note that if this process is not approved today, there is a risk to the IAF project timeline. Any delay could jeopardise the project team's ability to meet the time-bound funding requirements. Just additionally, the statement and proposal included in the report on page 169 currently uses the phrase "feel strongly about your feedback." That wording will be amended to instead ask, would you like to make a verbal submission, just to clarify things for the community. So staff are recommending that the committee approve the commencement of public consultation as the very first step in the statutory process to change the reserve classification. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Well done on your first presentation. Very succinct. Thank you, Councillor Jeff and Councillor Louise. Any questions from the floor? No, very clear. Thank you. Councillor Jeff, anything to say? No. Yes, Councillor Louise.
I just wanted to say that I didn't know that being chair of regulatory and hearings made me so powerful. Because I mentioned that the wording was, I had some feedback on, and now it's changed. So I merely wanted to say I thank you for the role of chair of regulatory and hearings.
There are no other speakers, so we will go to the vote. All those in favour, show of hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Item 13, the library strategy update. Over to you, Paula.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou katoa I ngā rangatira, ko Paula Murdoch tōku ingoa, he manutaki tuira ahau. So good morning everyone, I'm Paula Murdoch, the Libraries Director, and it's a real pleasure to present to you a report that outlines a successful year for Hamilton City Libraries. This is the second year of the library strategy, and it's seen good progress across the outcome areas of learning and literacy, culture and community, digital inclusion and engaging spaces. Some key highlights, both in-person and online visitation is up, 13.3% overall. So we've just a smidge under 1 million in-person visits. We hope to crack it this coming year. Of that, 41.1% is visits to Te Ketiaranui, but the two sites that we expected to be most impacted by Te Ketiaranui's opening are both now starting to increase their visitor numbers towards pre-opening numbers. Physical issues were down by 0.002% in the same period. And just for context, that's roughly about half a day's worth of issues across all our sites. Digital issues were well up by 14.8%, and for the first time, e-audio book use has overtaken e-book use. So that's an interesting development. It's not specifically in the report, but from January on this year, all library sites are now offering council services such as rates payments, dog registrations and parking fine payments. And the number of programs and events are up, and there has been a shift from offering one-off bespoke events towards incorporating those more as part of our BAU programs. Use of AP&K and printing services remains higher than ever, with 83 terabytes of data consumed last year. The previous year it was about 72, showing that this is a really valued and well-used service. Those are some of the key highlights for year 2 of the library strategy, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Paula, for this excellent report. I have a question around play in our libraries. I think last time I asked, or at some point I've asked about the idea of using the mobile play funding that we have to enhance the experience at, say, our central library or other libraries. Is any progress being made around introducing play? Right now in the Central Library there's one really, really sad basket of blocks like this big.
So we have had a master plan done in conjunction, or specifically for the Central Library, to look at future development of the space. Play will certainly be an element as part of that. There are some we have amplified beyond the one basket of blocks to include a few dogs and a horse. But
the dogs were popular, yes, actually. My children fought over them and made a terrible noise.
The dogs are very, very well loved.
They're very well loved, yeah. Okay, so is there funding at the moment for you guys to do anything in that space, or would it be something that has to come back to council?
So that would be something that has to come back to council.
But was there any opportunity in terms of the play budget to do anything, or is that already destined for other things?
I don't have control of the play budget. I'm sorry, I can't speak to that.
Is it?
Councillor Sarah, the answer is if we can, we will. So Rebecca and I will work very closely. We've obviously got to land the things we said we're going to land with the play budget, but if there is any unspent contingency or the likes, then we can look at these sorts of initiatives.
And okay, thank you. So my last question is then, in terms of signing off things today, or like approving anything today, is there anything that we would need to do or have a staff action taken on in terms of just ensuring that that play amount is considered when proposals are brought back to us? Or
it's noted.
It's noted?
Yeah,
okay,
we'll
excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Tim?
Thank you, Chair Kesh. Paula, thank you for your report, for your presentation this morning, but particularly thank you to you and your team. All of the library staff that I meet around the city are just fabulous. My question is, and I apologise if it's in the report, I haven't seen it, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. There's a wonderful cafe out in Rotatuna, and I'm just wondering how many of our ratepayers are aware of that, and in particular, if you could just comment on what sort of revenue it's generating. Is it a model that you think is working well and could be considered elsewhere? Because it's certainly a lovely thing when you walk into the library.
It's certainly part of the experience at Te Keti Aranui, I agree. Look, in terms of future planning for community hub arrangements, I think that cafe provision is absolutely something that we would want to consider.
But are you able to comment on revenue over time? And I know it's about a library experience, but it enhances the library experience.
Absolutely, it does, yes. And I would give you the figures on revenue if I had them available, so I'm happy to
and I'm
provide
sorry,
those.
so I don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe at some stage if we could have that, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. Councillor Louise?
Good morning, Paula. I got an email recently alerting me to the fact that a ebook I had requested was now available in stock after the new financial year. I was curious about, are you seeing a shift in book requests from physical books to ebooks or to e-audio books?
I can't comment on the requests for e-content, but certainly issues of books is up, just missing that 0.002 of a percent. So we're holding steady. In terms of use of e-content, it is certainly becoming a much more important part of the business. It's in no way endangering issuing of physical books in a hurry, but it does provide people with more options, more choice. And as I say, for the first time this year, we've noticed that the e-audio format has overtaken use of e-book formats.
Because I know the request form is quite well hidden in the website. it's somewhere under like, can't find the book you're looking for or something, and then that takes you to the request form.
Yes.
But I noted as well in the report that you're upgrading, rejigging the website in year
Correct,
3.
yes. So there have been some changes made recently.
Cool, okay. That's all.
Councillor Emma?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Paula, for your work. In a similar vein to Councillor Hutt, with such a big uptake in e-issues, are there any improvements needed in our digital library systems to support this extra interest in this field? What would you like to see more that we could do to support it?
So we're about to do a bit of a review of the platforms that we have available in the current financial year, and we'll be looking to, due to contractual obligations, looking to broaden the offering potentially to making different platforms available. It's always a bit of a balancing act between offering content. We're constrained by publishing licensing arrangements, but we try to provide as much of the content that users want to borrow as soon as we can. So we are looking at it in terms of the number of platforms that we'll be looking at.
And secondary to that, do we look to work with other councils or universities, for example, and how we can work together, partner together to enhance the offering?
That's an excellent question. So one of the things that we will be looking to do as part of this review of what is the digital content we offer now, what are we looking to in the future, one of the models, part of the model might be how can we work on this consortially. There are consortia within New Zealand for digital content, but at this point we are not part of that, but that's certainly something that could be considered and will be considered as part of that review.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Paula?
Thank you. I'm interested in the physical buildings themselves and what they offer the community in the wider sense. So looking at the picture on page 191 of the graph, 191 of Diligent, when you see pictures tell 1,000 words, right? So when you look at that graph, the outstanding performance of Te Aranui, Tim asked my question about the cafe, but in terms of what do we know about those venues in terms of what they offer or could offer? I know there's some work going on in one of the suburban libraries about what the future could look like. But what do we know, or what have we found as markers of success for a combined community library space? Hillcrest used to be a stellar performer at one point. Chartwell's solid, but you can see such huge variation. What needs to happen in terms of creating spaces that are performers, not necessarily as strongly as Te Aranui, but strongly, because they're not even competing at the moment. And I know people are driving from Hillcrest to Rototuna for the overall experience of Rototuna.
I will let Paula answer, but I did just want to say, I think one of the things you can see there is that Te Aranui is our only purpose-built
Yeah.
library in the city, and you can see the difference
So,
that it
so I
makes.
guess
but
to help you,
I will
Paula,
hand
and
over to Paula.
it's always funny when you say Paula, I think you're talking
Oh,
to me.
yes.
But you're not. We're co-Paulas. In terms of the extra facilities, that what part do we know anything? It is a purpose-built library. The cafe is one element of success. What are the other elements of success? The community rooms, the maker space, the private rooms where people can soundproof private. What areas are attracting people in?
All of the above, Your Worship. It's certainly being a new facility and a purpose-built facility is a massive draw card for the community, and I think that, as you say, the picture tells 1,000 words. We do struggle a little bit in that we don't have purpose-built buildings, and some of the assets are now starting to age quite a lot. And we do what we can, because a lot of it is around the, what we provide inside the doors to keep the community engaged and activated in terms of library use. Cafes, absolutely a massive draw card. Maker spaces, absolutely. That ability to transact more than just library business, I think, it's not been a runaway success, but I think it's something that if we were looking at community facilities for libraries, that it's something that we would actively build more in a more purposeful way.
And just one last question on that, because I would like, if I were staying, I would like to have understood more of that going forward. I realise I'm not. Just in terms of play space outside, you've got the skate park and the playground.
Yeah.
Is that the key draw card?
Te Kete Aranui, I think, is an absolute model demonstration of what place-based urban design can deliver. So it's not just about our library, it's about a skate park, it's about a playground, it's about the bus hub, it's about all of those elements coming together. So I think thinking ahead, we need to think about more than just a building, and we need to think about broader urban design issues in terms of activating spaces.
Sorry, that did spark one more question. Is it therefore about destination or situation in a community? Because these are all community located, but Rotatuna people are travelling. So is it about does it matter? Do we have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, how many in a community, or do we need to have some that are destinations? What's the balance there between community access and a destination that is super?
I think you're asking me to perhaps comment on something that needs a little more research to kind of consider and come up with a proposal.
Okay.
But certainly the network provision is always considered.
Right, thank you. Thank you.
Rebecca, did you have a comment?
Oh, no, just the only thing I would add to that is that, and it probably is in line with Amir Paula's final question there, I think we do need to do a bit more work to what the magic formula is for Hamilton. However, I think what's been so successful about Te Kete Aranui is the involvement with the community to understand what it was that they needed at the time of development, and what was needed for Rotatuna might be a bit different than what we need in other parts of the city. So that careful consideration and engagement with the people who will use the library has been part of the real success out there. And those elements might be slightly different depending on location. But we are doing some work, and we will bring that back to the next long-term plan and present some ideas to Council about next steps for our library space.
Councillor Maria.
We absolutely need Rotatunas all over the place, all the libraries. The needs are the same. He oi anō. Okay, thank you, Paula M, for your report. I was just reading in terms of the strategic considerations when staff were considering he Paumanua ora, and particularly Cody as your new Pauarahi. Who did Cody speak with or consult with? Did she consult with our Amorangi unit on why they think he Paumanua ora there are no considerations towards that? And just an example, how does he Paumanua ora not relate to numbers 18, 25, 26, 27, numbers 20, 33, to name a few? I'll make it easier for you. Going forward, when considering He Paumanoa Ora, would Cody be open and yourself to work alongside our Amorangi unit to look at how He Paumanoa Ora works in with the library strategy?
Absolutely. It's He Paumanoa Ora is definitely one of our planning documents. And Cody works very closely with the Amorangi Māori team. We're shortly holding an engagement with Mana Whenua to talk about the Central Library and the development that's going to be happening there. So yes, yes and yes.
Cool. And as part of leading that advisory group, may I be included in that, please? Kia ora, Paula. Awesome.
Thank you. Councillor Maxine?
Thanks, Paula. Great to see that visitations are getting close to that magical number, and that being able to get to community libraries is really important for many parts of our community. I was at the Hillcrest Library the other day and it was pumping. As I've asked in the past, and we know that we have partnerships with schools in pools, etc. But I wondered, have we thought more about how we can best advantage the assets that are right in our communities on doorsteps for so much more of the community in terms of access and ability to be able to work with it? Has there been further thinking or development on that kind of a concept?
I think it would be fair to say it would be something we would consider and develop in the report, such as Rebecca has referred to, in terms of future direction for libraries. I guess where we need to be careful is that we are a ratepayer funded organisation. Schools obviously have a different source of funding, so we just need to be clear about the tension between those two drivers.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Leave that with you, Rebecca.
Thank you. And just one question from me, Paula, regarding the graph that Mayor Paula touched on. And you've pointed out that Te Kia Te Aranui, 41% of all visits. How does that translate to, on the ground in terms of your staffing efficiencies and things? I'm sure most of us have been to Rototuna when it's pumping. So are you guys coping on the ground with that sort of demand?
Yeah, absolutely. So our staff are able to flex between sites as needed. So we have minimum thresholds that we maintain at each site.
Yeah.
And we can flex staff around the system as needed.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Was someone moving this yet? Oh, yes. Mangai, Ollie, and second, I just saw a hand go up here. Councillor Louise. Thank you. There are no other questions. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Ollie, Mangai, Ollie, over to you.
Thanks, Chair Kesh. Really good report and great data that shows a good return on investment of rates in whare pukapuka around the city.
Thank you. Councillor Louise.
Obviously, it would be very inappropriate to have favourite reports. However, this would be, I'd say, like a top 5, probably, that we get annually. And it's always just so valuable to have it laid out, the real diversity of reasons that people choose to come to a library. My mum's a big fan of our library because that's where she gets her printing done. And they are so patient with all of her printing wrangling needs. I've taken a great interest in getting out cookbooks because they are so blooming expensive. And in the cost of living crisis, free cookbooks is a real treat. But, I think looking at the data around the internet usage is a real key marker of how a cost of living crisis is affecting people more vulnerable in our community. And certainly the way that I often think about our libraries is that even if you don't use them, they're there when you need them most. And if you don't
if you can currently buy a cookbook, that must be nice. But if you're in a place where you really need internet access, or you need to use a public toilet, or you need some way to entertain your kids,
dogs.
There are places that are there for you, and I think that this report really speaks to the strength of libraries as an institution in our city. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Mayor Paula?
Thank you. Speaking in support of the value of libraries, I love libraries, but I want to think about what's we need going ahead. Absolutely proud of the community involvement Te Katiaranui when I had your role, Kesh. Getting the community to design what they need from the bottom up has certainly been a key part of the success of that. Having said that, I also take on board Maria's comment around everyone deserves the same facilities, and they do. We can't have the haves and the have-nots across our city, and clearly that graph just tells a very brutal picture about service level across the community. And I think that's a challenge going forward. How do we make sure that both sides of the city and various parts of the city are well served? Because books are not about just libraries, because you can get a Kindle and download a library book digitally if you want. I think they're much more. They're about the core of the community coming together. They're about community wellbeing and resources and community space. Absolutely support Tim's questioning around the cafe. I guess it's one of a small disappointment that I carry forward is the inability to get a fully functioning cafe in the central library. I believe it failed because it was a coffee cart right within the internal darkness of the library instead of a street-facing cafe where people could come in whether they wanted to go and get books or not. And I do think that should be reconsidered as part of the Garden Place activation. And I'm making that quite clear now. I think the cafe needed to be at the front, opening out. Look, if we could go back to Joe DiMaio's gelato shop and his coffee shop, much loved. Children could not get out of that library without dragging their parents in there for an ice cream. That's the kind of activation we need in Garden Place. That's the kind of activation we need in our library spaces as community spaces. Thank you.
Councillor Anna?
Everything has already been said, really, but I just wanted to, I guess, acknowledge the future of libraries. Yesterday we had a meeting about climate, and we talked about the heat that's going to hit our city, and is already. And I'm just thinking about how important libraries will be, and probably already are, as cooling spaces, as spaces we can go to when it's too hot. And I also wanted to acknowledge the work we've done at St Andrew's Library with the solar installation, because I think, again, from yesterday's meeting, generating our own energy is just going to be so increasingly important for our city. So I think, yeah, just more of that as we go along, and I look forward to the report that Rebecca's developing and the amazing opportunity. And thank you to the staff for all your good work.
Thank you. Councillor Maria.
I'm absolutely a lover of libraries too. It puts me in the zone if I have to study or do work, and I can bring my tamariki along, so it sets all those purposes. And so I just back to my kōrero, I really want us to think about here how He Paumanoa Ora relates on all different levels across all our different strategies. And I want to read out number 26 of the report because I commend that part and others parts of it as well. Library staff have continued to work to ensure library programs and services deliver against council's obligations under Te Tiriti o Waitangi through outreach activities such as Pokai Days, promotions related to celebrations such as Matariki, growing staff capability, ensuring kaimahi are supported appropriately. A new event, a whakapapa research evening, was held at Te Kite Aronui, and it goes on. If that doesn't relate to He Paumanoa Ora, I don't know what doesn't. So I absolutely support the strategy, but I'd like to see that part amended to acknowledge the role of He Paumanoa Ora throughout our library and the activities, but not to just relegate it to things that are obviously Māori. Tikanga, reo, whakapapa. It's a Māori word, so it's He Paumanoa Ora. Because it's not. You can see well-being through here. You can see prosperity, the environment as well. So let's think outside the box and how it can relate to it. Kia ora.
Thank you. Any other speakers? No. We will go to the vote on that. All those in favour, raise your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. And item 14, the aquatic strategy update. Kia ora, Liz.
Kia ora koutou elected members. My name is Liz Cann and I'm the Aquatics Director. I'm here today to present the annual update for the aquatic strategy. The highlights for year 4 of the aquatic strategy are that we've up 13% for our visits across Waterworld, Gallagher and Gallagher Aquatic Centre and the partner pools. That means we've reached 459,000. Paula's got a challenge to reach 1 million. Rebecca's put the challenge on us to reach 500,000. So next year, I hope I'm coming back to say we've cracked that one. Gallagher Aquatic Centre was promoted and we achieved 69,000 visits, which is 15% increase on the previous year. 23,651 people visited our 4 partner pools, and we've reached a real milestone with the partner pool this year as it's its 20th year anniversary, and we're planning a celebration with its founding provider, which is Te Rapa Primary. Customers who reported that they had fun at our facilities has reached an all-time high of 89%. And our new customer relationship system, Envibe, was rolled out, and that's really improved our customer experience with them being able to make bookings and complete transactions online. Event delivery was very successful this year. We had the number of regional and national level events is up from 12 to 14. The 4-week closure of Waterworld to upgrade the changing rooms, gym spaces, function room, and complete necessary health and safety improvements was completed on time and overall has been really well received by our customers. So thank you very much for your time, and I'm more than happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Liz? Councillor Emma.
Sorry, just quickly. Just with the success of the Mangu Ko Tukutuku event, how are we proactively working with our local community centres and schools to increase our visitation and the offering that our pools?
Yeah, we're very lucky to have a programs role. So she delivers all of our events and does a lot of community outreach and is doing an incredible job. So a big part of her job is to get out there and chat and see what is available. The success with working with the college and Glenview Community Centre did result in that event, and we certainly would like to be doing a lot more of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. There is a motion on the table from Councillor Sarah, which I think everyone's received, but Amy will pop up on the screen in a minute. Were there any other questions? Councillor Tim?
Does this include questions to Sarah on the motion?
Yes.
I'm just wondering, Councillor Sarah, if you could tell us what engagement you've had with the University Council about the pool and what their view is of your motion.
Yeah, so I had engagement with their facilities manager, who was supportive of having conversations with us. I haven't had conversations with people, anyone higher up than that, but it was directly with the facilities manager there.
Okay.
To have a follow-up, in order to help us to understand what the challenges might be, what is your understanding of the actual state of the pool, how much it would take to bring it up to...
I think that's probably a question for staff on this one, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so...
Yeah.
So what we understand is most of it is structural, so it has been leaking water.
So it has been...
It had been leaking water, which was the reason for the closure. So it does need a new internal structure.
Right.
Some of the plant also does need upgrading to safety standards. So we've got some preliminary high-level costings that we just need to delve into a little bit more, but it looks like it would cost, I don't like to put costs on things until we've done a bit more investigation, but it could be in the vicinity of 1.5 to 3 million to bring back to operating standard.
is the pool owned by the university?
It is.
So it's not a council facility?
No, it's not.
So
that would be
I guess
part
what I'm getting
of
at is why would we suddenly take over that cost?
That's right. So I think the opportunity for council to consider is, and we are doing a little bit of work for the incoming council, for the new council, a briefing around aquatics provision into the future. So we do know we have a shortage of leisure water in the city that is currently being propped up by our partner pools. The university pool was a key component of that partnership pool program. It's also quite a strategic site in terms of future provision. So if you look at some work that we presented some years ago to council on, that Steve Bramley had done for us around quadrants, having aquatic provision in the 4 quadrants of the city, the southeast is one of those quadrants. So there's potentially an opportunity for council, could look at a shared ownership or an ownership model, owning leasing the land like we do at Gallagher Aquatic Centre. That's land that we lease off the school, and we own and operate the pool there. So, yeah.
So Helen, thank you. And acknowledging all the points you've made, what is your understanding of why the university has decided not to undertake that work themselves and their future intentions for the use of that land?
Yeah, sure. So we had a lot of discussions with the university some years ago. Their view is that the pool is mostly used for community. So over the summer it's used by schools and community. And so they don't see that there is a huge advantage for them in terms of their operations and providing a pool. So they don't have a strong interest in renewing the pool, but they're open to us investigating with them the ongoing operations of that pool. So at this stage, our understanding is that they don't have other plans for that site at this stage. So, but that's the investigations that we would need to do in a bit more detail with them.
And so the motion, the work, that extra bit of work that you'd need to do, Helen, would that come back to the new council with the aquatics provision, the broader piece of work that's being done?
Correct. It would be part of the overall information that we'd provide around aquatics provision into the future. Yep.
So would the work that we're possibly going to ask staff to undertake just be within existing?
Yes,
but there's no additional budget required for that work to be undertaken.
If there was that, we would include that in the briefing next year. If council desired for us to explore further or expend any cost. But at the moment, it's part of our normal planning process.
Thank you.
Councillor Huata will second it.
Okay, thank you. We have more questions. Councillor Emma?
Yeah, I guess mine was kind of following along the same lines as Councillor Tim, and you kind of answered in part, Helen, but we did semi-recently, either the start of this year or end of last year, have an info session where we looked at the investment of all the pools and including the current state of the university pool. And my feeling at the time of the room was that there would be deficiencies elsewhere and potentially other projects that would get better delivery for money or investment. What extra would this provide that we hadn't, like new information that we didn't already go through? I guess is my question.
Sure, I understand your
We've already had an information session where we looked at all the pools, the current investment, the state of the university pool, along with a lot of the other pools, the cover over Tarapa, that kind of thing. What extra is this going to provide, and will it give context of across the board of all our aquatic facilities?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a new council, so it is about also bringing forward. So yes, some of the information that we bring forward will be information that we've had, that we've provided before, as well as, I mean, the university pool closing, has been a fairly recent.
This was after the
Was it after? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
was announced.
Trying to piece things together. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so my brain's not working that well. But yeah, it was really around looking at the pool, but also sorry, I'm just a little bit confused about your question.
Is there new information that will come forward?
Oh, no, mostly around the pool. Rebecca, is there any new information that we're including?
I think.
Oh, sorry, the partner pools as well.
Partner pools.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we will be bringing to you is we've committed to doing that work around understanding what's required for partner pools into the future, and there'll be some new information coming with that. The university being a key part of that program. The new information will also be some of the condition assessments. We have been able to gather more information from the university recently about the condition and the specific work that's required, which has enabled us to have a greater understanding of what that might be that we would, if any investment was required, what it might look like. So being able to bring that full suite along with any other thinking about aquatics provision to the new council ahead of the long-term plan just will help to to give a fresh update with the most current information for elected members at the time. So as Helen said, there may be some repeats, but there will probably be new information and enhanced information.
Okay, thank you.
And just providing guidance to staff before we go into the asset management planning, long-term plan phase. So how much, how much time staff commit to, investigating.
Thank you. Councillor Max?
Look, I think my question has just been answered in terms of the partner pool comments that you just made around that. I note that Hillcrest Normal has now rejoined the program, but there's a good many others around the city. You'll be bringing the full view of all of that in the new triennium.
Yeah, that's correct, Councillor Maxine. We'll bring a full view of our current partners, feedback that we've had, any changes that we believe would be beneficial to the program and any potential new partners as part of that suite.
Thank you. And the full costs of being able to participate in that in terms of the organisation that the schools might need to have at their end.
Yeah, that's correct. That's been a big part of the work that we've been doing, is to understand the impact and costs of the program in its entirety.
Thank you.
Councillor Louise?
I just noted on page 198 the beautiful new table with all the little statements of all the other things that it relates to. And I noted that we once again recycled our climate statement. I was wondering if we could possibly add to it something really great around pools being good for extreme heat scenarios. I'm sure someone can make proper sentences out of that. Great, cool.
Thank you. Councillor Maria?
No.
Okay, cool. There are no other questions, and we've got a motion moved by Councillor Sarah, seconded by Councillor Maria. Thank you, Liz. We will move to debate with Councillor Sarah.
Thank you very much, Chair Kesh. So the university pool has been hugely popular over the years. When we've gone, it's been full over summer. It's a really well-loved swimming space, and there's been a lot of disappointment that it did close. I spoke with the facilities manager at the university because initially I'd heard a figure of 15 million to bring it up to scratch. Anyway, I spoke with them, and they believed that that was probably the cost of making it a warm pool with a cover and things, and that it would be likely to be a lot more affordable just to get it back up and running again. And they were very keen to have a conversation. And so this is really going, okay, let's have a good look at their condition assessments, which I understand we struggled to get for quite a long time to actually see what the issues were. And to see if we can make use of an existing asset within our community. We know that there's no council-owned swimming facilities on the east. We know we've got a shortage of swim space.
and particularly on the east, this seems to be like if it's feasible, a really cost-effective way of ensuring that we do provide for swim space in that part of the city. So I would really appreciate support around the table just to continue to do some work to see if this is an option for us. Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Tim?
Thank you, Chair Cash. As was probably apparent from my questions earlier, I do have some concerns about this motion. And that is primarily based around the fact that this is not a council-owned facility. And I'm wondering the degree to which it is something that the university, having presumably put much more consideration into the concept, has reached a decision for reasons that are probably quite compelling. Having said that, I do accept the fact that we have a shortage of swimming facilities. It's very important, particularly for our children, to learn to swim. If some sort of engagement can come at no additional cost to council, but could lead to an outcome that would be desirable, then that's a good thing. So I will support the motion, but I'm just signalling that I have some real reservations about us interfering with something that is not currently a council facility and possibly leading to us incurring unintended cost down the track. So I'm torn, but I will support the motion to enable that investigation to go ahead.
Apologies, Councillor Maria, you were the seconder. If you'd like to go next.
No worries at all. The University of Waikato now has over 14,000 enrolled students, and that's growing immensely. And as we all know, just recently the central government approved funding for the establishment of New Zealand's third medical school right here in Waikato. So this pool could become a crucial health and wellbeing hub, supporting not only physical activity for thousands of students, but also complementing the training needs of future health professionals, including physiotherapy, rehabilitation, and public health programs. And I think about all of our kurea schools around the place. They also use the facility when it was open. Hillcrest High School, St. John's, Knighton Normal, Silverdale, Barclay, our own kura Tokumapuhi Mauri, Kura Kaupapa Māori, and it serves thousands of students who, as has been mentioned, currently face limited access to quality aquatic facilities. So let's think about a shared use model which could enable consistent swimming education, school sports, water safety across the city for tamariki and rangatahi in the region, and also the massive growth underway in Ruakura with over 485 hectares of new housing, industry, logistics. You just need to Google it to find all the stats. So there is a possibility of a co-governed partnership with Waikato Tainui and also being the leaseholders as well. In 20 years, it's going to be up with a right of renewal for the university of 20 extra years. So let's think outside the box, and I'd love to see that in the feasibility study of a potential university, council, Waikato Tainui led initiative to ensure that this pool that my children and I have been going to for years, and I used to run holiday programs there as a high school kid as well, gets the facelift that it needs. Kia ora.
Councillor Louise?
Thank you. I really want to just speak quite briefly on the power of partner pools because I think it's such an excellent example of council working smarter because the infrastructure already exists, right? There's already pools in the community, and it's such a wonderful example of us providing access to the infrastructure. And I was at Te Rapa Primary a couple months back for something completely different, but the principal, Vaughan Franklin, sort of grabbed me on my way out and said, I've got to show you our partner pool, and talked me through, you know, how they built the pool, how much he values having it and values it having it open over the summer as well. And I could really just feel from speaking with him how much that asset mattered to the school and the community and how critical the partnership was with council. And I think, you know, I grew up in a small town and we had a pool. I don't know how, because there was like a tiny town, and how we afforded a pool as a town that's full, I'm not sure. But it was such a key part of my childhood. So I just wanted to really emphasise that partner pools is an example of council doing something really well. I also want to take just a hot second to acknowledge our staff's responsiveness, and Rebecca might know what I'm about to say. I sent her an email about some concerns I had heard at a disability meeting, and by like 8:01 the next day, Rebecca had a response for me being like, so the chair's in the hydrotherapy pool, this is happening with it, and I was like, I've never had a response this quick. And for me to be able to go back to a member of the community who was really concerned about, you know, something in a facility that they really loved and appreciated, I was like, whoa, I can't expect this to happen all the time, but the fact it happened at all was, you know, I really, really appreciated. So our staff working in this space are just top notch.
Thank you. Councillor Anna?
Just quickly building on what Louise said, really, the opportunity of partners, and I just wanted to acknowledge the partners, including Te Whānau Pūtahi, mostly just for their commitment to making sure this provision can continue, and their dedication to it, and our staff also, and you know, money is so tight for these pools, but our ability to make a summer work, and I think that was Helen's comment recently to me, was we got through last summer, we'll get through this summer, and we can have confidence in that because we know our community team makes things happen and work amazingly, and it'll be great again to get the full report and to ensure the sustainability of these amazing partnerships going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. At the beginning of this term, there were multiple audits done on our facilities, including an aquatics one, which showed the shortfall of swimming space across the city. It showed where the opportunity areas lie, and the southeast was there was signalled as an area where there is need. So happy to support that work coming back to the new council, and the new information that you've gathered, Rebecca. But, you know, just a little plug that there were also audits done on indoor rec and a few other bits and pieces with Sport Waikato, so hopefully the next council will delve into that detail as well. In terms of partner pools, Anna and I visited Shane at Te Whānau Pūtahi quite recently, and they, of course, manage the Fairfield School Pool, and they talked about the challenges that they face with the current arrangement, so I am glad that will be coming back to the new council, having a look at the overall costs of operating the partner pools as well, because I've heard that it is quite challenging at the moment. But also looking at partnership arrangements, to Councillor Maria's point, and I often consider the arrangement that council has with Rotatuna High Schools and the Peak Indoor Rec Centre, where there is a co-governance model that works really well and is able to self-sustain. So all the best with that report coming to the new council. Anything to add, Councillor Sarah? Right, a reply? No? Perfect, thank you. We will go to the vote on that one. All those in favour, raise of your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. We are moving to exclude the public, and I'm going to just check around the room because I know that I don't want any hangry people. So do we need to break for lunch, or do we keep going? We've got 2 more items in PX. We do have external presenters for the next 2 items as well. So do you guys need like a 10-15 refresh, or do you want a 40-minute lunch? Should we have a 10-15 minute and then keep going? Is everyone comfortable with that?
Part will go.
I'm in your hands.
It's in your hands.
Idea.
If we behave well?
Yeah, if you behave well, maybe an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, not that.
Okay.
So I will move to exclude the public. Councillor Louise to second. All those in favour, just raise your hand.
Carried unanimously.
Thank you. So we will break for about 10